were
Hello.
you when you found out Trump has coronavirus? Hello.
What was I doing? Well, I think the first person I helped today at work, I am a gas station attendant, and the first person goes, "Did you hear? Did you hear?" And I was like, "I don't think so. What's going on?" And he's like, "Trump's got it." And I was like, "What?" Like, I thought he meant the election. Like, what do you mean? And he's like, "Trump has COVID."
Did the customer seem happy or sad?
Well, so that was the thing. I didn't know how to play it because I was happy when I heard it. This is why guys stab the bottom of a Capri Sun. It's too delicate to get it in there. What the hell? But yeah, so, look at that. I went through the back.
Yeah.
All right.
It does do that when you go the proper way. But you can still get in the center.
That's true. Yeah.
Very vaginal Capri Sun. I have to say it. It was right there.
Well, I double penetrated it, I think.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So the guy tells me, and I'm like, wondering if he's like upset, but it ends up like after a few words, I think he was probably trying to figure me out too. But then we were both like, "Oh my God, it's so awesome! Karma justice, yes." Did you find out last night or today?
I found out today. I have been working with a trainer again at 6 a.m. and I fell asleep at 7 p.m. yesterday. But I woke up at 5:30, and my friend who's deployed in Eastern Europe had sent me a meme of my reaction when I found out Trump has coronavirus, and I was like, "Wait, what?" And then I got in the New York Times and saw like it was the main headline. I was like, "Oh wait, oh."
Well, so yeah, I've been seeing mixed things online. Where the mix is like people are happy, and then people will be like, you should never celebrate something along those lines. It's like, fuck off.
The Root had an article, I think it was Damon Young, said you should never feel bad, but then he started out in like regular font being like, and of course we would never wish this on anyone, and then in all caps he's like, "Oh my God, I can't do this. I am so happy. I am a pig in slop." He is getting exactly what he deserved. And I mean, honestly, I had a feast of Schadenfreude this morning. I keep waiting to feel sad, but I don't feel sad about that.
Yeah, I feel like while it's true you shouldn't wish people ill, there's like also a certain group of people who goes beyond that mark of respect, and I think Trump has done that.
I mean, I never exactly wished him ill. I just don't feel bad that he is ill because he's lied about it, has access to much better health care than everyone else. I mean, it's been a parade it's been like 6 days of bullshit with him. First, the fucking tax returns. I mean, I feel like that man personally owes me money. I feel like he literally owes me money. Like, I can't quite explain the anger I felt about that. And then there was the debate. I mean, did you watch the debate?
I did. It's 100% what I expected. I did like that people were like, it was a shit show. It's like, no, Trump was shitty, but it was normal. Like,
I mean, how else could you respond to that? I feel like Biden took it way better than anyone would have taken it. Like,
there were a few moments where I was having near anxiety attacks because one of the answers Biden gave, he made this complete fart noise with his mouth. And I was like, oh, great. That's all they're going to fucking talk about. But like, luckily, nobody even noticed. But I noticed and I was like, no. And then like a handful of times he like really flubbed what he was saying. And I was expecting to like dementia.
Yeah. You can tell he has a stutter. Like he didn't do a great job. Like I won't go that far.
But I
But
think
given
the whole thing with his candidacy anyway is like, I don't care. Like, I'm happy he's Democratic to an extent that he is.
right.
But I literally, if everybody was like, yeah, the frog, we're voting for the frog, I would be like, yeah, I'm voting for the frog, dude. Like, you gotta get rid of this guy.
Frog for friends.
Yeah.
I told a friend this. Biden could grow a tentacle for a nose, or even a dick. I would be casting that Biden Harris vote. Like, I seriously, I don't know what it would take for me to not vote for Biden, knowing who he's up against, and knowing the like magnitude of lies.
It's good you brought that up, because like I think things are going to get desperate towards the end, and like real weird accusations about him are going to come out. So I work with this guy who I guess likes Trump. Like, you would never expect this guy to like Trump. It's like, okay, I guess you're really into Trump, because I overheard him go to this other guy who's also a father, and he's like, so you hear what just Hunter Biden did? And I was expecting it was some drug thing, some money thing, but it was a pedophile thing. And they were both in agreement, like, yeah, he's a fucking pedophile. And so like but I was like, even if he was, like, Joe Biden isn't. So like, it's not a reason to not vote for a guy. Like, I get that you can hate his son for sure, but his son's not running. But with all the touching and videos of Biden, I'm expecting something wild to happen closer.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to rule anything out, because anytime I do, it fucking happens. Like, I was glad that there hadn't been any news of unarmed back in April. I'm like, well, at least there haven't been any news of unarmed, like, Black people being killed by police. And then, like, at least we're not having, like, well, at least Ruth Bader Ginsburg is still on the Supreme Court. And I honestly thought, I don't know, I lied earlier. I kind of did want Trump to get coronavirus, because I like seeing people get what they deserve, honestly. And he's a fucking liar. I just don't give a shit.
It's perfect for him to have caught it. It's like the only, like, and I hope he doesn't die, because I would hope he gets what's coming to him legally anyway.
I don't want Mike Pence to be president. That's the only reason
Yeah.
He honestly scares me,
but like, just so perfect that he got it. And it's like the most, if he didn't get it, then the world, then I would almost believe that, like, yeah, the world's ending and it's all bad. But the fact that he got it doesn't make it good, but it's like, oh, there is a sense of balance.
There is a sense of balance to it in the universe of, like, of reaping what one sows. Like, if you dedicate every moment of your life to exploiting people and greed and lies and power grabbing, then yeah. Having and ignoring, I mean, especially just about specifically this. He lied about it. He has spread misinformation about it. Just tons of misinformation coming out from him. I mean, do we wear masks or not? Does washing your hands do anything? Does it matter if you sanitize things or not? I mean, no one, what type of people tend to get it? Have they found, like, any commonalities? Where should I go to get a test? What's the best test and the most accurate? How long are you infectious for? You know?
What do you say? Only, like, nobodies get it? Or something like that. But it's like,
well, and I want to check this, but I was on Twitter, so I'm going to check it again, but I heard that his brother died a few months ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they say that it was actually coronavirus.
Oh, wow. Is that
but they
father?
They hid that. They said it was a heart attack.
Is he the father of the woman, the other Trump that wrote the book? That's all. in the media too?
Robert Trump is no. That was actually what's his father's name?
Grump Trump.
Frederick Trump.
Oh.
Frederick Trump Jr. was the Mary Trump's father, and he died, I think, of a heart attack, like 40 years ago. No, this is the youngest Trump daughter, or the youngest Trump brother, who's also suing him, and he has a physically. No, that's not their whole family. So they all name each other they all have namesakes. So the Mary Trump has a brother, Robert Trump, whose daughter has, whose child has like cognitive and physical disabilities. And when they were fighting over Fred Trump, Trump's father's estate, they cut off their health care. Like they cut off the family health care to try to win the lawsuit. I mean, they're really kind of trashy people. Like, like for all the money that they allegedly have, like they're really tacky, terrible people.
It would be hilarious if you could somehow get enough scripts of like their actual dialogue and then just film a hillbilly family and have them say those lines, and like it probably wouldn't seem.
It might feel very authentic. Well, I guess it's a rumor, but there's speculation about it. So I'll get back to you on that one. But I honestly, my heart and soul feels tired from this whole week. I mean,
yeah, and that's the funny thing. The last time we talked on this was when everything was on fire, and that seemed like like I don't even know if I'd imagine I said these words in the last one of being like, I can't imagine it getting any worse. And it's like, oh Jesus, we really packed on.
Don't say it, BJ.
All it takes is 2 weeks.
Well, the air is clear here. I mean, the sun's out. I got the door open. I'm breathing in the outside air. I don't want to tempt fate by saying things are better, but
yeah.
So I was thinking about this, and I don't know your thoughts on it, but what if he dies and then somehow wins this election, or they still try to steal it for Mike Pence? Like,
yeah, I don't know how that works. Well, so yeah, didn't that happen? Was Kennedy running for president when he was assassinated?
He died 3 years into, or like 2 years and 10 months into his term, and then he basically Lyndon Johnson was sworn in, I think, in the hospital.
No, it was in the airplane.
Before wasn't in Air Force One. But yeah, it wasn't. And then Lyndon Johnson went on to get elected for president on his own anyway. So the only thing I could think of that's kind of close to it is, I think it was William Henry Harrison he was a populist presidential candidate, and he got elected. And then to show he was of the people, he gave his inaugural speech during like a rainstorm, and then he ended up getting pneumonia, and then he died a couple months later.
Damn.
But I don't think there's a real precedent for this. I mean,
I feel like for the world, the best case scenario really is if he dies, because then everybody who has been so hostile against like putting on a mask and stuff like that, then they would be like, oh Jesus, like
in Israel.
So yeah, they would take it serious, which would be a good thing for people overall. But I don't think he will.
I don't think he's going to die. I mean, the Times says he's now going to Walter Reed for a few days. because he's feeling fatigued but in good spirits. Which most people are in good spirits when they have a fever because it's fucking euphoria. Not because, oh my God. I guess they're filming him going to the helicopter. This is all crazy. I miss Obama. Like,
So that was such a funny thing that, like, you could point out policy stuff or like war type stuff that he did that people might not like, but like in terms of scandal, like there was all these scandals about like he wore a tan suit and like just things that were like, what? Who cares?
I don't think he's a real American.
Yeah. Just all the things that weren't true or weren't important. And then here's a guy who's just fucking bopping and scatting every week.
I mean, I think about all the time, like, if we were, like, seriously, if Obama were to do even one of these things, like, just one of them, like, just not releasing his taxes.
Yeah.
How would that have been received?
Or not paying taxes.
Or not paying taxes. I mean, honestly, he'd probably be facing impeachment. He was there for 8 years and had none of this going on. So I don't understand how people can just watch Trump do this stuff and they're like, oh, it's fine. Oh, it's fine. He's being attacked. He's being persecuted by the media. I'm just like, what? The media is not there to sing your praises all the time. I mean, supposedly Dick Cheney said it himself. If you want to be loved, be a movie star. Maybe Trump should have been a movie star. I don't know. It's just.
He is in Home Alone. Home Alone 2.
He is in Home Alone 2.
That's the, like,
oh my God.
In a way, this is stupid of me, but I'm more embarrassed that he's president for those types of things, that like he was in WWF wrestling and like just tacky shit, and then became president. That's worse than a president who's a maniac. Like, you expect a guy to get in power to be a maniac every once in a while, but it's just shitty this guy who is like selling steaks on TV is the president. That's the shittier thing. It's like that. Fuck, anybody can become president.
I mean, it's also shitty too that, like, digging beneath the joke level of this, and what really, really was scaring me on Tuesday was the whole shout out to the Proud Boys. That was fucking out of pocket. I don't know what.
I saw a good joke today.
I don't know what stand by meant.
He meant stand by and stand back because he knew he had COVID. He was like, "Stay safe, guys. Stay away from me."
Really, you don't want this, guys. It's real.
What's a weird thing to me about 2020 is not everything's been Portland, obviously, but like so many things just keep popping up in Portland specifically.
That is true.
We were like, before, wherever I went, I told people I was from Portland. They'd be like, where? It's like, oh, it's above California. But now, like,
you mean Seattle?
Yeah. But like, I guarantee you say it to anybody, everybody knows. Oh, the place that was burning with the Proud Boys and the feds and tear gas.
I mean, to me, it's kind of a point of pride to be like an anarchist jurisdiction. Like, look who it's coming from. It's such a fucking jerk off. I mean, literally, can I just send a picture of me doing this and it turns into this? No, I mean, I wish I was more embarrassed about it. I'm not, because again, like, the Trumps to me, Trump and Tacky start the same way. Like, I just don't, these are not people who I respect. And I think they totally exemplify the fact that people think that if you have a lot of money, that you're a respectable person. And our economic system doesn't bar amoral people from climbing to the top. I mean, that should be obvious, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it should be obvious to people that that's not, they're not synonymous, but I don't know.
What do you think those guys are so proud about?
I mean,
I don't even get it. The funny thing is, like, so they have all these really dumb things that I've heard about, like how they join. You have to like name a certain amount of cereals while they fight you. Have you heard about this?
what?
That's like that's the way you get jumped in. But like, so I knew this kid in LA who had a lot of money, and he had all these cool Fred Perry shirts. So I always wanted them, right? And I finally had gotten one, and then now that I guess that was co-opted by them, and so I got rid of it. I just took it to the But I was like, oh, well, I finally can get one. I don't want it anymore.
I'm on Wikipedia because I want to see how you get jumped in.
They just copied and pasted from the Crips Wikipedia.
Oh, God. Ugh. Wait, didn't Gavin McInnes isn't he involved with Vice magazine somehow? Like, wasn't that something he was involved in?
Yeah. And they kicked him out because he's a crazy man.
They have an initiation process that has 4 stages and includes hazing. The first stage is a loyalty oath on the order of, I am a proud Western chauvinist. I refuse to apologize for creating the modern world. The second is getting punched until the person recites pop culture trivia, such as the names of 5 breakfast cereals. The third is getting a tattoo and agreeing not to masturbate. The fourth is getting into a major fight, quote, for the cause. What's the... Yeah, hipster racist.
And I think that's why they pick Portland all the time, is because they know they'll get a fight, but they'll get fight from, like, you know, just weird white guys. But like, I guarantee you they would be too afraid to go to like LA and do that shit.
Where there are actually enough black people who will fight you.
Yeah.
And it's not even the men.
So like, it's also like they specifically pick Portland because they know they're gonna get a fight, but it's gonna be a fight that like the police is going to side with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although, however, luckily it never even came to that when they came this last 2 weeks ago or whatever it was, because they were too drunk and they left real early.
Well, and I guess not as many people showed up as they were expecting, which I think was good. I do think they're one of those things where the more attention you give it, the worse it is. So you're best to just ignore it. I don't want to make this whole thing of a talking today about the Proud Boys. I just think that, speaking of Trump, and speaking of things in that debate that were fucking atrocious, that was definitely one of the things to me that was pretty atrocious. And yeah, other than that, I've just been working and rewatching The Witcher.
I never watched it, but I do intend to see it at some point.
It's pretty good. I think I need a sound bar for my TV because theme music is really loud, but then the dialogue is really quiet.
I hear that as a complaint about like Netflix as a whole.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, because I definitely am just like, okay, like any show you watch, The Office, literally any show, it's just mixed so strangely. But yeah, I haven't got my ballot yet. I got my Beaverton, Oregon voters pamphlet. So I'll be looking over these candidates for Beaverton City Council.
I haven't got one of those pamphlets yet, but I did get something really exciting in the mail. So I've always complained that there's been so many polls for everything, and like customer feedback, and I've never once been asked for my opinion. But finally, Nielsen, the company that does the Nielsen net ratings, and
sent you one of these.
I did, so I want that. Instead, I literally got an envelope, and it had $2 in it, and it's like, yeah, I thought it was fake, so like I almost threw it away. But then I opened it. It's $2.
Mm-hmm.
It's like clearly brand new printed. It's like crisp.
Yeah.
I make it invisible. It's so crisp. But then all I had to do was fill out a little thing, and then they gave me another fake thing, or crisp 5.
Oh, so I
And I just felt so cool, but not cool anymore because you got one.
Well, I don't. We might be on different tracks because we're obviously different demographics.
Yeah, mine was just a little sheet. You got a book.
Well, I think I got a little sheet first, and it said, if you do this, we'll send you $10. And I was like,
$10?
I was like, sure, I'll take fucking $10. Fuck it. And I didn't really think much about it. But then I got this letter, and it said, Dear Beaverton area household, your opinions matter! ! People really doing this matter thing. People just fucking ripping off on black people again. Anyway, this is your last chance to participate in our survey about shopping preferences and leisure activities. Encloses a small cash gift, which was a very crisp dollar bill. We will send you an additional $20 as a thank you when we receive your completed survey. Please have the adult in your household who has the most recent birthday complete the survey, either online or using the enclosed paper booklet. But it is fucking I mean, look at this. Fucking everything from NFL to professional video gaming. It's just, so I guess I get to fill that one out. I've actually done something there, but I'm supposed to fill it out and then send it back as an envelope. So yeah, maybe you'll get one. I randomly get things from them and don't really think much about it, and then suddenly I'll get like more and more. So,
well, so the funny thing about that thing is I almost threw it away because I don't actually get mail. The only reason I open is because I recognize that brand as being the thing that surveys things and provided those old cable box type things. But I wanted to bet there's a lot of crisp money in the trash right now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's just weird to think about. It's like they probably printed that money recently. Oh no, it is because it has that fucking guy's name on it.
Mnuchin?
Yeah. And look at his fucking
Secretary of the Treasury.
So look at his fucking autograph. It's like so pathetic.
Yeah, it is a little grade school at the beginning part. Like it doesn't look like an adult.
I don't know why
like,
focus on it.
I went to work with my dad.
But
yeah, I didn't notice that, but they don't put the strip in them anymore. So I was like, well, how do I know this is real? Like, do you remember that for a while they were doing that of like, there were certain colors and then there was a strip through like the left side. I just remember this from the movie theater. I had to look at it.
I don't know if we kind of fully talked about this. So it'd be shitty if we did, and I'm now saying it for the second time. But I think they got to get rid of this money. They got to make new money.
And get rid of the slave owners on it.
That would also be in part of it, for sure. Like other countries just have so much cooler. It's just cooler and more representative of the country. It has like all sorts of like, whether it's geological or like their national parks or tourist attractions. There's like artists and stuff on the money.
Mm-hmm.
And then the material that it's made out of is better. It's like waterproof. It's like a plastic thing. It can't be faked.
Yeah.
You can't print. You can't even attempt to copy it. And then it's also different sized and different colors. So like for people with different disabilities, they're able to figure out what they have in their hand.
Like if you have vision impairment, you would be able to tell. Yeah.
Yeah, you would know. But most importantly, because like, who has bundles of this? You know what I mean? Like most people have their money digitally. It's the people who have the bundles are all people we don't want to have the money. They're either like in drugs or they're like just shitty rich people who have their money in some other bank in like Panama or, you know, somewhere else.
Cyprus.
Yeah, exactly. And so by doing that, by just like, oh, here's our new format, bring it in, get the new format. Those people aren't going to bring in their huge stacks. And then they're not. Their wealth, it vanishes. And then.
Well, I don't know what's the way to do that? Like, I mean, when I worked in the box office, Christy and I would play a game where we wanted to get little Lincolns because, you know, the face used to be smaller.
Yeah.
And then the new Lincolns had the big face.
Yeah.
And then we would joke and play little Lincolns or little Hamiltons. So whoever had the most old money at the end, but it wasn't like we didn't let those people into the theater. Like they still bought a ticket. It's still circulating somewhere in the system. Like, do they just wait till it like goes through the economy, lands the bank, and then the Treasury is like, thank you, burning it? Like, I mean, how do you?
It would be hard to facilitate, especially because I guess there's a national coin shortage that's still occurring. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, I'd heard about that too, which made me sad because I got rid of the digital app we use to pay for our laundry because it's never hooks up and it's hard to.
So the only reason I knew about it is I need coins for the laundry.
Did they not sell them to you at the bank?
So my bank hasn't had. I'm sure there's certain days I can go, but for the most part, you can't go in. You just can operate. You can call them at any time or do stuff from the ATMs, but you can't go in, so you can't get coins. And then all the grocery stores are real, like, stingy with them.
They're fucking stingy with their quarters. I've been through that before. They're like, well, we can give you $5 every Thursday on a month that has an A in it.
But so to facilitate the money thing, I feel like they would have to, it'd be weird. Like they would have to have all the money already printed and then probably be like, hey, you have until this date and then like 2 months in the future. Or you can sign up for this exemption for whatever, like maybe you're not in the country right now. But like make it a short window, the shortest window you really could make it. So the people who have a ton of it in bundles aren't able to like launder it.
Right. I mean,
or like not launder their entire stack.
I mean, it seems like what the Treasury does is like, if they make a change to the dollar itself, they're like, we make dollars like this now, be advised. And then they just start making, you know, the big head dollars, or start making them without the strip, or start making them with, you know, one other small change or the other. And then you just wait for the old ones to kind of flow out of the system. Because I mean, I get little head dollar bills occasionally. You know, they're in, you know, I'll get like cash back at a grocery store, and then I'll go to a convenience store. No, I mean, they're making their way. They have to know exactly how many of them they're printing, or approximately how many they're printing.
A weird thing about Portland, Oregon that people might not know is that there's a handful, like we have the most strip clubs. And so strip clubs try to, diversify or focus in on one thing that makes them unique from the rest of the strip clubs. So a lot of places use the $2 bill. So anytime you get change in Portland with a $2 bill, you're like, I know where you fucking were.
That's true.
I'll get $2 a premium. It's like, I know where this $2 bill was. I know where this is bad.
It was crazy. Devil's Point, shout out to those ladies. They're beautiful. They did not do $2 bills, but Stag, the gay boys strip club, shout out to them. They're beautiful. They do $2 bills out of their ATM. So whether you're at the bar or at the ATM or wherever in the establishment when it was open, getting $2 bills. But yeah, I probably have more use for a $2 bill now. But I've always thought money's kind of grimy. Like our money's sort of, it's dirty and it has like a smell to it.
It does.
Like I noticed when I got this Nielsen dollar, I was like, ugh. It has like a, not dry cleaning, but just a chemical. It's kind of like.
Do you know, it'd be an awesome thing when we're like super, like the biggest podcast. we'll get like, I don't know if a sommelier is somebody who's an expert or they just serve the wine, but somebody who's a wine expert to like, we'll have various bills and they'll be like, I smell hints of cocaine and coffee.
Gee, hand lotion.
Wet wipes.
A chin watcher button. Now I'm just naming what's in my purse, but which is definitely not like flowing with cash. I don't know. Do you use cash often? Like
no, I honestly I don't. And then the only reason I now have cash is because I've been getting cash back in attempts to get coins. Doesn't work. And then I have a piggy bank and I literally put the money in. So like, I'm like buying my coins back from me. And the only reason I'm doing it is it tells me how much I have. So I got 2063 in there. And then
nice.
Just basically buying the quarters back.
That looks Japanese. That piggy bank.
From the name, I'm guessing it's not. The Digi Piggy.
Oh.
But,
I want one.
Yeah. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, my laundry basket, the lid's just open now. I'm just stacking stuff on the top. And then sometimes I get busy. I'll just buy more underwear because I have a lot of clothes. But I'm getting down to like this outfit looks like I have someone who helps me go grocery shopping. So it's time to.
All right, Leah, put on your seatbelt. We're not leaving until you put on your seatbelt.
I feel like in another universe, that's my job. Like I have been an adult aide for years. I always like those folks that come to the theater.
The sad thing is,
they have the money ready.
I could do it for a stranger, but if there was somebody in my life, I don't know if I could do it.
Really?
Like, I would do it out of obligation, but I think I would have a funner time and make them feel better if I just had no stake in it, you know?
Okay, so you're saying that if I was in a devastating car accident and was slow afterwards, you wouldn't take me to the movie and drive me to get groceries?
No, I would, but I think so. Like part of that would be, I'd be like, Jesus, like she used to be so cool. Now she doesn't fucking talk. Does she even want to watch this movie? Am I just taking her to the fucking movie? Whereas, like,
it would be sad. No, it'd be hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas someone you don't know.
Yeah, then it's just like, I don't mind that you don't respond or you drool. It's like I have no other context of you. I accept this. I accept this fully. Let's hang out. But any other context, I feel like it's like this tragic.
You're not quietly remembering their concert pianist.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I feel like I have a little experience with that because my mom was so different after her stroke. Like, she went from being a pretty brilliant person to like not a dumb person, but just like not as smart as she used to be. Like, and you talk with her about things and she kind of like not have the insight she once did. And that was really, that was difficult,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So it was like hard not to like separate her as like, this is how she was before and this is how she was after, and like feeling that they were like two separate people. Like I never was able to really get over that because she just was so different to me. I still loved her, but she was really different to me.
Yeah.
After she'd been sick. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it depends. Like if I was like not talking and drooling and like literally just had no interaction, like with a shell of my former self, like yeah, that'd be hard. I feel like it'd be hard for me, for you, like vice versa, just so you know. So if you're devastated or brain dead, I ain't doing shit for you.
Well, if I'm that way, I want you to like just shoot me. And so like because I have that mindset, I would be in this weird dance with whoever, like say it's like my wife is now that way. I would be like, let me hug you passionately, and then like for 10 seconds, and I'm going to get the fuck away for 10 seconds because I don't know which one you like. You know, it's like, I'll do all of them. So like, at least you get some of it and you're not freaking like in your head, like, why won't he hug me? But like, just in case it's the opposite, then I'll fucking get the fuck away. I don't know.
I mean,
it would just be me like, just doing something and doing the exact opposite. Like,
light on, light off.
Yeah.
Light on, off. Off. It's nighttime. Off. Oh, we're going to bed. Off. Off.
In her head, she's just like, shut the fuck up! Just shut up! Pick one and shut up!
I told you to pull the plug! Yeah, if it's looking like I'm not going to wake up and I'm brain dead, like, pull the plug, man. Just let me leave this body. I don't, having Trump, my friend put her, well, you know, maybe she put her dog down yesterday.
Oh, damn.
And she'd had her 17 years. And so she'd had a really tough day with her. And then by the end of the day, she's just like, I called the vet and I talked it over with her friend who had the dog with her. And she's like, we just are going to put her down. And like, she's had this dog the entire time I've known her. I met her 12 years ago. So I was kind of upset. Like, I actually went over yesterday to say goodbye to the dog. So I just was like, oh my God, like I can't believe I'm not going to see your dog again. But she went really peacefully. And the vet was like, I'm glad, like the vet was like, didn't fight with her about it. And she's not a vet who's like, put them down. Like she's pretty conservative about it. And I'm just like, why can animals have an out like this? But then people were like, no, you have to hang on till the end. And
that's what was churning in my, I was going to ask you, I was like, should they be able to put humans down?
I honestly, and I'll tell you, I am so glad in Oregon we have assisted suicide, like it's legal, because if I get a fucking diagnosis of brain cancer and they're like, oh, you'll have 2 months to live and the last month will be very painful, I'm just like, all right, so I'm going to get my affairs in order and I'm going to check out. What the fuck? I don't know why we make people suffer like that.
No, and it's weird because like I have customers and it's like they literally are coming over from Washington because like they couldn't pump their own gas. You know what I mean? Like they're like taking advantage of the fact that like, oh, Oregon has these guys, let's fucking, but like they can't even get their debit card out. And it's like, fuck, dude, like it's a weird thing.
How are they driving?
Yeah, no, well then that's, yeah, as you see them drive off, you're like, ooh. But that's a different thing between generations. Like that generation, because of, I don't even know if they encountered the Great Depression, like they're probably too young really for that to wade into them like they're my grandpa, but like they still are clutching. It's like they're like climbing up this mountain towards death and they're climbing their whole way. Whereas like, I'm pretty sure our generation sees the mountain. They're like, I'll get about there. And then like, oh, I'm good with chilling up there. I don't need to go to the top.
I mean, you don't get a reward for suffering and wasting all your money, or not wasting, but spending all your money in the medical care to stay alive. And like, it's easy for me to say this as a young and healthy person, but you know, if you feel some way about it, fucking email us. Send us hatemail@gmail.com. But seriously, I just don't think that, what do you get by sticking it out? Especially if you have like no kids, or I could say like if you had a kid that was like, you know, had special needs, or, you know, you just had unresolved business here on earth and you're like, I just gotta hang on. Like, no, you didn't.
Well, so here's a real fucked up thing that I didn't even consider, but I've like met some coworkers that like, so I work with a guy who like should have retired a long time ago. I want to say he's like somewhere between 65, 70.
Damn.
Real no intentions of being able to retire soon, but is going for it. But guess what? He takes care of his mother.
Yes.
And I was like, damn, dog. Like, if my parents are still alive when I'm 75, I'm going to fucking kill them for them. It's like, oh, you guys are like, I'm old. And so that means you guys got to get out of here.
Y'all are fucking ancient.
But,
you're goddamn old with 2 Ds.
I know another woman who's like somewhere between like 55, 60, also takes care of her parents. And I'm like, both of them? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, fuck.
God damn. Just why in their family situation do they end up being the one to be the caretaker? Do you know any information on that?
No, maybe with the guy, I could see maybe him being the only son. Because I never heard him mention brothers or stuff like that. Like that's the top of mind thing. But I don't know.
Because I know a lot of women even with siblings who don't end up having children then end up being the one that will take care of the family.
Uh-huh.
My sponsor ended up being the one taking care of her brother who was mentally disabled, and now her mother. Like, she's the one, because I mean, it is a lot of work. Like, you've got to advocate at medical appointments, which are plentiful. You've got to figure out like any situation of their basic needs, like healthcare, housing, you know, those kind of big pillars of need. You're having to be the advocate for them. I helped her move her brother out of her place. Like, people have to rely on each other to kind of help them because she's disabled herself. So it's like, I don't know. We have a lot of that at my job too. People will die and then they're like older boomer, like the greatest generation borrower who got a second mortgage to help cover medical bills will hold on to the house because they're leaving it to their kids. And I'm like, leaving a house with a mortgage on it to someone isn't an asset. you are inheriting a loan. You're bequeathing someone a loan. Like, how does that make any sense? But whatever. We have that happen all the time. People who are like 50, 60, 70, they were either living in the house or they live, you know, or some other family members living there. And they're like, oh, we have to hang on to mom's house because that's where my brother lives. And he hasn't been right ever, or he's an alcoholic, or he's been in an accident, or, you know, just like fucking crazy situations. I don't know. I don't want to be in a home though. Like, I get.
Well, so I during this conversation, I thought how it goes. So, you know how like you have until you're 18 and then you're an adult and then like you get kicked out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's how it should be with. So as soon as an older person needs to move in with their kid, you got 18 years, and then you got to get the fuck out.
eventually we're in a generation where old age will look very different. Not only because the world will very possibly be burning up around us, but also because if you're wealthy enough, I mean, there's probably going to be AI that can help you, like, oh, can't get out of bed in the morning because you're fucking old? Well, let this little droid help you, like, get your hips moving again, you know, or, you know, oh, can't read, can't do shit. Here, put on these goggles.
And I feel like that shouldn't be allowed. Like, what a worthless use of AI's potential. It's like, let the AI leave this planet, create its own things, and populate the universe with its own. It's like, you don't need to keep us alive. It's like, explore the cosmos, find out the truth of everything, because we can't. So do it for us. Don't fucking feed me Lipton tea because I fucking can't bend my neck.
Do you think you'd rather, okay, say you're going to live 100 years, but the last 15 years, you can either lose, did I ask you this already? You can either lose the use of your faculties, your mental faculties, or you can lose the use of your physical abilities, like your physical abilities. Which would you rather?
Physical. If I don't have my mental, then there's no point in.
Right, trapped in your own.
Unless it's like 15 years of just mindless hand job where I'm like, boo, boo. Then actually maybe that'd be better than heaven.
Wait, I'm sorry, what will you be like again? You know, maybe if you were in a permanent vegetative state, I could stand to see you like that. I'd be very old myself. I'd be like, that's where all our water. No, I think I choose the same. I'd rather be a prisoner in my own body than a bumbling, able-bodied fool.
Because you can just imagine stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the diving bell and the butterfly was a writer who was imprisoned in his own body.
Yeah. Did he like blink it through?
He blinked out each letter of that novel.
There was a really good guitar player who got maybe it was ALS. And then lost control. What was his name? Guitar virtuoso. ALS.
Wasn't it like Jason something?
Jason Becker. That's right. Yeah, I can't imagine that should like be its own medium and held to the highest regard of art, where it's like they were able to transmit their idea by eye blink, because God, that's such a task. It's like that's harder to do than sculpt. You know what I mean?
That is difficult to even conceive of. Like,
you'd have to be tracking, like, especially say you're saying a sentence or even a musical composition, like you'd have to be like, you have to blink a while to convey the one note or one letter that you're talking about right now. But then you got to remember which ones did I do before? What word am I on? And what word is like, and then
like how, because would they hold up things? Because I mean, if you hold it up and someone points and blinks, or you say letters and then someone blinks and you get to the letter, did they then guess what they were going to say? Like,
did you watch Breaking Bad?
Yes.
I think that's some Hector Salamanca. They like had a little, they're like, yeah, they probably develop a rhythm for that where they could just be like real quick and then ding. It's like, oh, okay.
Ding. Well, also in the, his name escapes me now, but he was in the Thornbirds, and he also was in 1970s remake of The Count of Monte Cristo. There was a character who was like, who would blink. It was one of those movies my mom got at Costco. You know, they just have a big table of fucking movies. Do they still have
that? Just books. I don't think movies are made in a physical format really anymore.
Not even DVDs?
Definitely not DVDs. Blu-rays are a thing still, but you can get 4K digital downloads, so it's like.
so my personal trainer is 24, and he's never seen Fight Club. And I kind of got mad, and then I realized, like, I had no right to be mad.
Do you know what's weird?
He was 4 when that movie came out.
Planting that seed in that kid's head, like 24 is the perfect age to watch Fight Club. And that'll maybe make him rethink his entire industry. He'll be like, why am I doing this?
I mean, he didn't, when I first met him, he didn't really follow politics, and he didn't vote. He's a young Latino, but he's a light-skinned Latino, and I feel like the closer you get to whiteness, the more likely you are to become a Republican. And I definitely think this is true with some Latino people. Like, oh, I kind of look white. Oh, I don't speak Spanish. Oh, I don't know any migrants. And you just kind of lift yourself up further and further towards whiteness. And further and further away from your actual culture. But he speaks Spanish, and he's a single dad. So I was like, okay, you know the class struggle. Like, this shouldn't be a hard radicalization for me. But he's not a big reader. Like, he likes to read. Like, he's like, oh, I got this book by Michael Jordan's trainer. And I was like, oh man. If you don't read, it's hard to get a 3-dimensional view of the world. But
that's why I
think Fight Club is one of those novels and movies that's like, oh. Sorry, you were going to say I interrupted you?
Anytime people don't read, especially if they're like, it's cool to read nonfiction. That's probably the better thing to be reading. But I feel like fiction gives you empathy. And like the best book to give those types of dudes is Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut. Because it's like,
really?
Yeah, because I just think I'm thinking of myself back when like I was proudly a non-reader I read that book and I felt so cool that I was reading because one, he was this old obscure guy, like in college age, everybody knew who he was, but like I guarantee you this kid probably has never heard of him. It's like I feel like it's like a high school, college mandatory reading type thing, but if you're not exposed to that, then you're gonna miss him.
Right.
And it's a book where like every book page is a chapter, or even some pages have multiple chapters. So it's only like 130 pages, and so like you're blasting through all these chapters, and you're like, "Holy shit, I'm on chapter 77!" Like I'm fucking good at reading. This book's great. And then you finish it in like 2 days or 1 day even, and you feel, oh, reading's cool. I did it. Because like the struggle, like they're slogging through authors that like got paid per the word. So they're like, whoa, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, you can't turn a non-reader on through like Jane Austen, especially a dude. Like, it's very much like, oh, like, why is this interesting? Like, I was watching, like, I was that weirdo kid watching Masterpiece Theater when I was like 8. So I'm like, oh, this is great, I get to read it. Like, that's not that kind of, not everyone has such an easy on-ramp, I guess. So yeah, short, punchy reads are good like that. I think that's why so many high schools want you to read Catcher in the Rye. It's so, it's so easy to read. And it's not terribly complex, and it's not like out and out like.
And the protagonist is a young person who's complaining. And so it's like, they're like, yeah, I fucking hate this book.
I read Catcher in the Rye when I was 14. I loved it. I never read it again. And then when I think of reading it again, I'm just like, nah.
So the funny thing is, I was really good at the internet before, like, I'm sure other schools had kids who had computers, but I was fortunate enough to, like, nobody fucking was computer literate at all. Not even the teachers, really. And so, like, Catcher in the Rye, I was supposed to read, I think it was my sophomore or junior year, but I didn't read it. And I just literally printed what sparknotes.com had. I probably wasn't even smart enough to edit it off to sparknotes.com. I just proudly turned it in, no problem. Never was a thing. But then later in life, I read it when I lived in
Really?
So I did that with every book. In high school, I purposefully did not read until, and it was good they did this. We all made fun of it back then, but like our school, I was at the perfect threshold to miss every type of thing. So like whether it was electives and stuff like that, certain fun things that you kind of look forward to, but then they had to replace it with standardized testing or like a standardized reading thing. And so my senior year, our school had such bad like literacy and just all those tests. What were those called? Did you have those?
We had.
Alt was when I was younger. Sim
not
and
really
Cam.
because they were preparing. I can't remember the name of them, but I always did well in them. I did well, dude. I'm a good test taker.
So we had it was Sim and Cam, and it was like Sim was Certificate of Initial Mastery, and it was like just can you do basic stuff like you should have learned, but nobody got it. Nobody at Franklin got it, and so.
Wow.
Well, my senior year in our graduating class, one person got the certificate. Like,
what were the questions? Like, why did so many people not get it?
it wasn't necessarily particular questions. You just had to show, like, you had to be able to do a public speaking thing, a science test, a math test, and a reading test, and get a certain score. But we just all fucking were stupid kids. So it just didn't work out. But so for my senior year, because all the other classes had just been bombing this test, they were like, we got to get kids to just fucking read. I don't care what they read. Third period, their third period class is eliminated. Doesn't matter what it is. Maybe you're taking calculus. Doesn't matter. Gym. Doesn't matter. Third period, all you do is sit in that class. You sit in the gym or you sit in the chemistry class and you just fucking read a book. And so that was the first time that I had to start reading because I was like, I purposely was like the kid who showed up and was like, oh, well, if I don't have to read, like we don't have to do anything. But then it was so boring that it was like, well, I'll read a magazine. Then I ran through all the magazine. Well, so then I read The Godfather. And it like, it's kind of interesting. Then I read Cat's Cradle, and I was like, "Oh fuck yeah, I can read." But it was good that they did that. But we all made fun of it because, like, other kids who were trying in life required on that third period class. They were purposely taking that third period class for a reason, but that class didn't exist anymore. They just had to read. Silent sustained reading is what it was called.
I don't know.
I think you froze.
I've been a reader. My mom. Oh, no, there you go.
No, you're back. You're back.
Okay. I've always loved to read, and my mom was a reader, and my godmother always told me the story about her mom about how they had back in the 50s you had Fun with Dick and Jane, and then you had like they were readers, and then you advance up. And she's like, I always liked your mom because she carried a little valise to school. My mom's a super nerd. And she was in a group, in the highest reading group, and you got to eat cookies in that group. And then Paulette was like, I wanted to eat cookies and hang out with your mom. She like worked hard to get in her same group. But my mom read to me every night since when I was born until I could read on my own. I had all those wisdom of them. Like, I'd read those like Redwall, and like I just loved to read.
I remember those books. I actually I read.
They're good.
Yeah, I didn't finish it, but I thought it was a cool book. But I was like faking it. That was like in like 5th grade. Some other kid had one. And I was
They
reading.
were big 95.
I want to read one of those
They
now.
were very much like, when the pandemic's done, we should do the SMART program. Start making a reader today, and you go into schools and you have a like grader, like a kindergarten to fifth grader you're paired with, and you read a book with them. I don't know. My heart always bleeds for people who don't enjoy reading, because I don't understand how do you navigate this world if you don't have strong reading comprehension.
Mm-hmm.
I actually was very proud because I learned a new word this week. And the word is bourse. It's spelled like course with a B, and it means like an exchange. Someone was referring to the Japanese stock market. I was like, what is that? I've never heard that word before.
Can it be a verbal exchange? Can we just refer to this as a bourse? Yeah, I have a bourse with my friend Leah.
It has to be an exchange of money, and it usually refers, or like a mercantile, like a stock market in a non-English speaking country.
Went to the bourse for the horse, of course.
A horse is a horse, of course. Oh my God. No, so I don't know. I think it's, your parents, did they get mad at you for not reading or not?
Well, so I never had a difficulty cheating in whatever thing, or just getting a C on the multiple choice test, because I was like, teachers are dumb, and one of them was so obviously not that. And then I would just like think like, why would they be studying this fucking book? I was like, sadly, like smart, but not book smart. Like I was smart enough to figure out what was going on to just skim on by, but like not smart enough to just read it and be a good person. But the thing that sucks about me looking back in college and just all my education is I cheated. Dude, I cheated my way through it. So I cheated myself. And now I pump gas.
You make me feel terrible, BJ, because I didn't finish college. And for the classes I did try in, I mean, I was either getting an A or an F. Like,
I remember, so teachers used to do this thing in college where like they thought they could prevent these cheaters from, they would have like, you get the pink book, I get the blue book. She gets the pink book. Yeah, so like, I'm taking a test that nobody near me is taking a test. I would always be able to find who has it and be like, I had so many good moves of like yawning or however I needed to look and just be like, okay, what? All right, what? Let me get a consensus here. B and she has C. This guy's smarter.
But if you're like in psychology classes, or because you really can't do that in Gen Chem, like.
Well, so that's the funny thing is like, I took all those classes with my friend Travis. All the psychology classes with Travis. Some of the classes, so like we took a biological psychology class, which was way more involved than a multiple choice test, but most of the psychology program was just a multiple choice program. And then like some like lab things that were kind of fun. So like, it was easy to be present and do those things and talk about them, and then pass that class because of that. But so we took this biological psychology class. I fainted nearly every class because of like, they were like dissecting a brain, right? And I just couldn't handle it. So I cheated off Travis, but also he was failing too because it was just a hard class. It was the first class I knew about the pass, no pass. If people out there don't know about it, you can take, if you think you're failing a class, take a pass, no pass. Doesn't affect your grade point average. And if you get a passing grade, you pass and you get the credit. You can only do it a handful of times. But so I used that because I was like, oh, I'm going to get a D at best. And I did get a D, but because of the curve, I got a B in the class.
Oh, damn.
Because everybody was in the D. Everybody was getting a D in that class.
Yeah. Do you wish you'd taken it graded now?
Yes, but I mean, it doesn't matter because I'm pumping gas. But I regret even, like, if I could go back, I wouldn't even be taking those classes.
What do you think you would take instead?
Like animation or something, something I'm actually interested in trying to do. And speaking of animation, this is how bad of a person. It's good I'm not an animator, because when you were mentioning Matey's dog getting put down,
Mm-hmm.
here's what a legitimate thought that popped in my head in that moment was like, wouldn't it be funny if I animated a series of shorts of different animals getting put away, where like at the beginning it seems like this tranquil thing, and it's like for the intention of like a kid maybe stumbles upon it and just, well, what happened to Fluffers? But then when they're injected, the animation is like this fucking nightmare. The dog is sent into this hellscape and it's there forever. And so any kid watching it would be like, oh my god, no!
You said Pepper went to the circus.
But since everything in my head is like something I can't, it's a horrible thing that I would never do, but I think it'd be hilarious if it was existing as an art form. I feel like animation is the easiest way to do it solo. It's solo path, yeah.
You draw very funny pictures. I always enjoyed them through the years. I don't know what I would do. I think I would have just like majored in English like I should have. I just like leaned into it. But I was always so worried about money, and then I started smoking weed all the time and drinking my face off, and you know, I didn't take advantage of it the way I should have, I guess. But
what so like English is the major that is like, it's like a difficult major because of the work that goes into, but it's also known as like a major that like doesn't have that many jobs. Like it has some great jobs that require it, like being a publisher or an editor or something like that. But ultimately doesn't have the most jobs. What like three things you think have the most relevant, like you study that, you're just doing that and you're fine?
accounting, like fine after 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or yeah, because like pre-med doesn't really count because like, I don't know.
Accounting, computer science, and math.
Yeah.
If you study those three things, you really can take them in any job with just 4 years. I would say econ, but that's a little soft. Like it's great if you have a master's in economics. A bachelor's is good, but not as competitive as the other three.
I really wish I would have done computer science.
I don't think I had the right kind of brain for it. Like I appreciate what it can do, but I'm just like, I mean, writing code is really extremely difficult.
Writing code is actually something like a cheater like me would be perfect at, because a programmer most of the time is hunting through public shared works of how to do this already, and they're just copying and pasting from other people. And then the real work is like when the two things you've copied and pasted from two sources don't work, then it's the digging in and being like, okay, so what's fucking going on? That's why it's those moments of being like, fuck, what?
I mean, and if I'd known that then, I might have gone for it. Like I wasn't very, I got there, it was very much like, okay, I made it to college. I didn't think I was going to make it, but I did it. And it was like, where do I go? And there were just so many things. Like, I don't think I had the maturity to take it on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, even now when I think about finishing my degree, I'm just like, oh God, like I know the things I wish I'd done earlier, I should have gotten sober when I turned 21. It you were there, BJ. It wasn't obvious I had a drinking problem then. I don't know what else could have happened to make it more obvious, but I went ahead and found out.
Happy 21st, you're almost dead.
Oh my God. Wow.
We should talk about that party.
Yeah.
That was one of the most epic parties. And the funny thing is, so like, I lived in LA and I got to go to some very privileged parties of like whose house it was and like the amount of stuff and then therefore like the high quality of drugs that they're just trying to give to people or free stuff. But so like kids in LA go to those types of parties when they're real young and then they're just jaded for life. Because they didn't get to have a party like your party, which was like what movies try to recapture.
Yes. From what I can remember of it, I was having a great time. And everyone else was having a great time too. And I think it was just like, but I spent everything leading up to that drinking and like thinking people weren't going to come. And like, that's why I am an alcoholic. Most people feed their self-loathing with contrary thoughts like, oh, I'm being ridiculous. It's only 7 o'clock. It's not. Shut. And yeah, that party was, it was
also
crazy.
I've never encountered that theme. I'm sure somebody copied it, right? Or like, where did you come up with the theme? Is punk versus funk?
My brain.
Okay. But so like,
I never heard it before. I just was like talking to Tony in the car, and I was just like, well, we should do a funk party. Or like, I don't know how. I just kind of just crossed my mind.
It's the perfect combination of vibes. Not only does it rhyme, and not only do both have such outlandish clothing to be able to pull from, but like, I don't know, it's just like a perfect, you're either punk or you're funk.
I think I'm funk on the outside, but punk on the inside. I think you're the opposite.
Yeah, I'm funk on the inside, punk on the outside.
I love the theme. I wish I could do it again. Maybe when I turn 40 or something, but parties aren't fun when you're over 25.
Yeah. I've had great ideas for parties, but like nobody's coming to anything I'm doing.
Youth is wasted on the young, man. It's just, and again, that's one of those quotes you don't truly understand until you're not young anymore. So, how do you feel about aging? Like,
I don't mind because I'm lucky. We had a great, like we had kind of bad childhoods, but also great friend childhoods. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Where I think I most of the people I interact with who are younger had great parent childhoods and then bad party childhoods. And like, I'm not envious of any of them. I don't mind aging because like, as I look back, I'm like, I fucking, didn't get to where I wanted to be in life, but like I had a great time. Things were pretty great. Even bad moments retrospectively are funny and great.
Yeah.
So that is fulfilled. So I don't think I'm going to have a quarter life crisis or any of those. Well, I'm past quarter life at this point, but like I'm not going to have a midlife crisis because like I already did all that stuff. My whole life was the fun stuff. I'm going to have
You already did the wild shit.
I'm going to have the opposite. I'm going to be, I need a fucking kid. I need to have a fucking kid. How do you feel about aging?
I don't feel, what I don't like about aging is that I feel like I'm a better expression of myself, at least, or a fuller expression. I feel like I'm a fuller expression of my good qualities and a lesser expression of my bad ones. And like, I wish I'd had it earlier.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and I understand, like, I had to go through those experiences to get here and be at this place, and then to get there, and then to, like, continue to grow as a person. So then I just think that, like, you know, any kind of limiting beliefs or negative behavior that I still hang on to now, I have to, like, let them go, because I don't want to look back with regret when I'm 46 or, you know, older, and just feel like, why wasn't I at 36? Like, because I mean, if we continue to live, the day will come when we look back on this and they're like, why didn't we? It's why I was like so eager to do this podcast with you and just try to like do something creative, because we've known each other so long, talking about how we should be doing this or that creatively, and then, at least in my case, like not really following through with it. So. But I do like that I give less of a shit about people. I do like I have more confidence in my ideas. The gray hair is a little weird, and like,
Yeah, I got it all. And
I have some throughout the afro, and I feel like my face, like the weight gain's not been great. You know, I feel like I'm in that stage of aging where women like realize you can't coast and you really have to start like fighting to kind of seem young. When I tell people I'm 36, they're surprised. So I think I come off with a youthful energy, but I know things that an older person would know. That's, I guess, kind of the weirdest thing. Is like I was talking to the woman in my training group, and my trainer, like we were like doing push exercises, and I was like, did you guys watch the debate? And I was telling them about the debate and how crazy it was, and I was like, I watched the debate since Clinton and Joel. And then the girl was like, when was that? And I was like, 1996. They were like, you were watching a debate then? And I was like, I'm like, I'm stuck in 36, all right? Like, I was a 12-year-old watching a debate, okay? So those things are weird, of like having to explain, just feeling kind of out of place, like not being married, not having children, living alone, are definitely things that you think of like, oh, you're in your 20s, but I'm well into my 30s. Speeding towards my 40s, like, and I don't know if I want to get married.
Yeah, so like I think that too. Like, I know of all the positives, but nothing that I like, because I see customers in their truest sense. They like, nobody regards me as a human. They don't even fucking acknowledge me. You know what I mean? Nobody gives me eye contact. Nobody even thinks. So in those moments, they're fighting in the car because I'm not there. And I'm able to just be like, what the fuck? And more often than not, just seeing married couple, they're like fucking fed up with each other. It's just like too much time to be latched onto somebody. It makes sense in a genetic concept of like us needing to have the baby in the wilderness safe, and like, you go do half the tasks, I'll do these half. But in this society, it just only eventually leads to contempt, where you just fucking hate the other person because you couldn't tell them anything new, and then they know you too well, or you can't break out of their perspective of you after a certain period of time. So like, if you want to change in some capacity, they're just like, no, what the fuck? You're just, and I just see the way people interact. And it's like for instance, today I saw a guy with a windshield wiper, and he was trying to ask his wife about the size of it, which like, the whole thing just was baffling me, because so like, she was just wasn't paying attention to him until she realized people were listening to them. And then she was like in the zone of being like, fuck you, dude. Like, you don't exist. And it wasn't until she realized there was an audience that was cluing into that she had to be like, oh, I think it's a size, blah, blah, blah. but it's like in my head, like the guy knows what size it is. He knows how to figure it out. He's just trying to stab his wife a little because he knows people are looking and he knows what she's been doing. And it was just like, why are you even married at this point?
Marriage is not about being happy, though. Affairs and flings are about being happy. I mean, Mady's husband, Eric, I would say they're happily married, but she was having a rough day, obviously. She's about to put her dog down. And then she looks at her phone and she goes, oh, God damn it, those alligator clips I wanted have run out and I can't get one. And so we were talking about how she goes, why don't they just make enough of the clips so that everyone can get one? And I was like, capitalism, because how would you build demand? And then so Eric goes into this whole explanation about supply and demand. And Sadie's just looking at her phone the whole time. I was like, I finally just turned to Eric and I go, Eric, I really appreciate an explanation, but Sadie's wondering if there's still any more left and how she can get them. And she's like, you're right. She's like, I did hear it, but I was also thinking about that. And also, you should have heard him talking about his credit score last night. Oh, my God. And she's like, it kept going in and out and in and out.
Men do want to mansplain. Like, I'm guilty of it. I feel like most of my date stuff, I'm just kind of mansplaining, but it's not because I don't think they know. It's just so I'm kind of like, isn't it cool I know this? It's like, I fucking know all these things. Isn't it neat? But like after, like in a marriage situation, I can't imagine either party being like, yeah, keep telling me about this stuff. I really care at this point. I know you're an idiot. I already know you're an idiot. You're not impressing me. So like for me, dating is awesome because by the time they start getting fed up with me, then it's over. And then I can mansplain to somebody else.
I really don't see the point of dating other to have sex with people. It's hard for me to like get excited about it beyond that. And so it's made me like very shallow in my pursuit of people because I'm not looking like I want to look for someone who's like emotionally supportive and really interested in me. I do. I really do. But maybe I just want to find someone who's hot and can lay some tight. Like I have to be really good and like aware of my own shortcomings to be like, oh, okay, he's 24, he has or younger. He probably likes on every woman that he came across in his little queue. And then he's got like kind of a bullshit job, like he's not really like, he quoted some Drake lyrics in his profile, like this is not a good person, but look at those abs. Like
just a funny thing.
What I need for conversation.
I would say most of my female friends who are dating through apps have that perspective. They are mainly looking for like a hot dude for sex. And then guys are actually like, oh, I just want a soulmate. It's like, I think in the 90s, all that television of like
women want commitment and men want to play.
Yeah. It went into the audience's ears, and like the children that were born out of that TV are now flipped of those stereotypes.
Well, I think women, okay, you earn your own money, and a lot of women aren't having children for many different reasons. And honestly, like, getting married doesn't really benefit women as a whole. It benefits men. And so it's like, well, of course you want to get fucking married. You're lonely and you're tired of doing all your own chores. Like, that's why you want to get fucking married. Like, you want someone cute in your wedding picture, your family likes, and who will shower you with adulation and do all your fucking chores. Like, and that's just not, like, that is not a modern marriage. Like, most marriages, if you get even one of those things, everything else will be different.
Mm-hmm.
Most women work. Maybe if they did, they can't because they need to earn money to maintain their lifestyle. Like, that's just kind of the fact of it. And I don't know.
What do you think of not like actual mail order brides, but that type of concept where it's like basically I highly doubt very many women are using it. I could be wrong. I know there's like shows, the 90 Day Fiance, that there's plenty of women using it, but like I'm willing to bet it was harder to find those audience or those cast members than, because like every old white guy with a Vietnamese veteran thing
with a Southeast Asian wife.
Yeah, but not like one they met in Vietnam when they were back there. It's like a girl who's like 20 something, and and at each time it's so weird because like depending on what side of the car I'm helping them on, like maybe one of them's in the like sometimes the wife is like talking and then the guy's all fucking angry because like I'm the wife's age. And in my head, I think it's gross, but as I'm more nihilistic about the whole thing, I'm like, I kind of want to get one of those types of situations going for myself.
I mean, there's a man, this man and his wife that I worked out that are in our workout group today. He met his wife online. She's from the Philippines, and he's just kind of like a nerdy white dude, nerdy overweight white dude, and he met this really nice woman online, and there's a gal said he rescued her from the Philippines. I'm just like, the Philippines isn't a third world country, but whatever. But she's, I mean, I don't know. I don't really feel. I look down on the because by our own values we're supposed to be enterprising and growing emotionally, and I kind of look down on the man more because I'm just like, oh, you couldn't grow emotionally enough to have a woman who's more your equal. You had to have someone who like isn't in the culture, doesn't know the language, and like basically is like feeling a more subservient role for you, and usually a much younger person. So it's also, I think, kind of weird on that level too, of like you kind of want to be smarter and more mature than the person you're married to. But for the woman, I just like, you took a situation, you saw it wasn't working for you, you used the only commodity you had to trade yourself up to this shithole from another one. Good for you, man. Like, make it work. Like, work that WAP, bitch.
I feel like if I did do it, I would expect everybody to view me as being gross, like in those manners. But I wouldn't be doing it from a subservient, like I would have no interest in somebody waiting on me in any capacity. But from the mansplain perspective, it would be this wonderful thing where it's like, this lady doesn't know anything. I fucking get to mansplain every single fucking thing there is. Like here in Portland, we pump the gas.
Oh. This is called a bowling alley.
But I feel like that's the type of, not joy, like other than sex, I feel like showing off is the only thing that I like about dating. It's like terrible as like a narcissist confession, but like that's the only part that's fun. And then like also fun in like picking up the small things that they're not going to expect you to remember and then come up with like a gift on those. Because that always is like a great move. That's not.
But that's kind of show offy too, though, right?
It is. It is based in show offness.
It's a show off nugget with a kind and thoughtful outside.
And so as I realize this about myself, I do feel like the mail order bride concept has the highest potential of show offness.
I mean, I've always thought I just to try to get rich enough that I can, pay someone to be intimate with me.
The disappointing thing is for me, which is a horrible thing, like that I'm thinking about this, but like I don't know if there's a country on earth that's having a hard enough time that the girl's gonna be like, oh yeah, just some random American who pumps gas. Of course, I want to. Like they'd probably look at me and they're like, fuck no. I'll go with a 6-year-old guy who knows what he does, but.
Or she's, have you watched the movie Mail Order Bride? It's a documentary. So, God, I can't think of the actor's name, but I'm going to look it up. So this man, he's kind of he's like he's like a toll attendant. I can't think of the actor's name that plays him, but he's, gets this woman from Vietnam, and there's this like Manhattan documentary, and he's like, oh, I'm going to follow you. And Adrian Martinez. So he's like, oh, I'm going to follow you and film it. And, it'll be this great thing. We can, see like what it's like for you and what you're going through or whatever. So turns out the girl like doesn't like him. And then she ends up being with the documentary maker. And then she leaves him after like basically taking him for all she could, like, making money or whatever. And then they find her, the first man who she'd come over to marry initially, he calls him the documentary maker, and he's like, you won't believe this. Go on the website, the Mail Order Bride website. And then she's there with the same profile. Like, she's not there to like find love. She's there to like do the rinse cycle with some dude in the States or in Europe. She's just like, all right, I'm going to like portray myself as this like innocent third world woman, like just developing world woman, just trying to find love in a better life for myself. And then she meets the guy, gets what she can, and then goes back to Vietnam. Like, and I thought it was fucking great. Like, because marriage is a business arrangement. It's not about, ultimately, like, we've all met people who get married, and then that someone they were with before they liked more, and you were like, oh, you really love that guy, but you're marrying this person because it's more suitable, like the same family and the same values and the same economic level. Like, you're not going to really take a chance with someone who's totally a bad match for you. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm thinking of like, well, I don't want to get us in trouble with our actual friends.
Those people shouldn't send us hate mail, but other people should.
I don't know personally, fuck them. I don't know. I just always think of that, of like, and I know people with good marriages. Like, Sarah's parents have a good marriage. Mm-hmm. Like, I think Caitlin and Brennan's parents have a good marriage.
I feel like
a good marriage.
Those people have good marriages because they're interested in stuff. So they not
the marriage. Yeah.
Yeah, they have things that they independently are interested in that the other's not, but then there's things that they were both interested in, and it's like such a wide breadth of stuff to be interested in. So they're able to mansplain to each other. But it's the people who like, just come home, watch TV and go through the motions. Enough years of that, it's just going to collapse because like, they just don't have anything new to tell each other other than complain about what happened at work or complain about the same problem that they might complain about. But that wears on somebody. You have to be contributing new things. And so but those people are so interesting. So like, I would imagine it's very easy for their relationship to be good because they're not sitting on the couch burning time.
I mean, that's true.
Because inevitably, I think what maybe collapses a marriage is somebody then thinking like, what have I been doing the X amount of years? Like, what have I achieved? Whereas those people won't have that because like, it's like, oh, I've been playing piano. I've been ice skating.
I've been baking. Yeah. Well, you look at Sarah's parents. Her mom's a physical therapist, and her dad retired last December, but he was a geneticist. So they already had like separate, pretty big interests. And then she pursued her education while they were married. You know, Sarah and Peter, they're nice people. Like she focused on raising them. So it's like you kind of like had things you went through together, and then you kind of like really big parts of your life that are separate. Like Janet teaches at Mount Hood Community College now for their PT program. So like, even though Mike's home, like he bakes and he has like other interests and they've traveled and, you know, you have like separate things you can, you know, pour yourself into. I think that's probably important. And that's hard sometimes. Like if you have 2 young children.
Their traveling definitely also adds to it because there's like fond memories to look back on, but that seem odder. It's like more of a standout memory because it's like we were in a fucking weird place. So when this real mundane thing happened, it was a big deal. Right.
No, I think that's true. I mean, I think that's the hard thing about dating is when you know people who have really good marriages, and when you first start talking to someone to date them, I mean, you already know that they might not be the person that you're going to be able to like go the distance with. Like, I've met people I really liked, and I definitely met people I really liked having sex with, but like someone is going to be able to who will be able to deal with me day in, day out, and that I will also like dealing with day in, day out. Like, that I want to go on vacations with? I don't know. Like,
also, like, I've spent so much time alone that even after a great hookup, and I look over and it's like, get the fuck out of my bed. It's like, you don't have to stay over, you know? It's like, I really enjoy being alone in my bed.
I mean, that's true. I'm in a 2-bedroom apartment, and I was like, oh, will it be too much room for me? No, I have spread my shit all over. Like, I don't want to decorate with someone else. Like, look at your fucking wall. Are you really going to let someone else come in there and...
Well, so that was a funny thing that I think was a small element in my last relationship ending is I do view this as an obstacle for women because most women come into a very blank slate of an apartment and like see the guy as a moldable thing where it's like, oh, they want to mansplain the guy into culture. And like the things that they're interested in. But like, I think that's intimidating. Girls will come over and be like, wow. And it's like, it's all just junk, but they're like, It's like, it's already too full. I can't influence.
There's no space for me here.
Yeah.
I haven't really tried to date since getting sober. Like, I momentarily like had a hookup, but both of them have ended up with me getting accidentally pregnant. So
see more in episode 1.
See more in episode 1. So yeah, I don't know. I was supposed to have a coffee date with this guy today, but I didn't message him because
typical woman.
I don't know. We're like typical man. I don't know. I just was like, well, and it's so hard now. It's like, where are we gonna meet? Well, okay, well, the have to be socially distant. And you gotta wear a mask. Okay, and then there's a few places that do that. And then they're gonna have coffee, and then I just want to see my house. Like, why? Like the last guy I hung out with, he was a doctor, and Matey was like, oh, he's a doctor, and he's like really cute. And like, he was very cute, but I was just like, he kept wanting to come to my house, and I'm just like, we have been on 2 dates. Like, I'm not inviting you over to my house. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Like, is that out of bounds for me to say? Like,
no, 2 dates is like, it would be fine. Like, it's another story if he's trying to get you to come over to his house. That's fine. But I never want to see somebody's house. It's like either ultimate creepy thing, he's going to kill you, or he's going to judge you. But there's no reason to pester somebody about it. You just have to have it authentically happen. Or a third case, maybe he can't have you come over because he has a wife, and he's trying to.
He had roommates, and
oh yeah, no, she's just my roommate.
well, it was a married couple, and he was like, oh well, you know, it'll be like he invited me over, and I was like, I've got to work, and you know, maybe next time. And I was like, I do want to come over. It just was like, you know, I'm fine. I work 50 hours a week, okay? Get over it. Like, I work 50, 60 hours a week, and everywhere in Portland takes driving now. Like, I now live in Beaverton. So do I want to drive a half hour to Vancouver to hang out in your backyard? Like, we weren't having that much fun talking to each other, right?
Yeah.
So
you could.
So then, like,
location. Like, I don't care if I don't even know who's an attractive actress, but if they're in Vancouver and they're begging for it, I'm not going over there. I'm not driving anywhere. I refuse to drink and then drive. And so if I'm having to drive out there, or it's going to be an expensive Uber, nah.
And Vancouver would be an expensive Uber. I mean,
yeah.
He was over by like the fucking hospital out there. Like, it was a long drive for me. And it was like late at night. He's like, well, how about you come over? It was like 10:30. And I'm just like, dude, I don't exist after 10:30 outside of this apartment. Literally, my hollow matrix breaks down. Like, I just can't do it. But then I realized, like, I'm just literally cutting myself off from stuff. Like, I don't want someone who drinks or smokes weed. Oh, I don't want someone who's fucking conservative. I'm 5'5". I would like you to be at least 5'6". You need to be able to, you need to read and you need to seem smart. You could be nerdy, but not too nerdy. You can be active, but not too fucking active, okay? If you're like snowboarding and surfing and fucking skiing and hiking in every picture, like, I just swipe left. Like, we're not going to match. I'm going to want to binge watch something one day, and you're going to be mad about it.
What's your app of preference?
I'm trying Bumble for right now.
So interesting about Bumble in a guy's perspective. I'm sure there's plenty of guys who swipe left. There is no incentive to swipe left. There's no even incentive to look. You should just go right. Because it's like, say I match, like, it's all on you. Like, you gotta match me, and then you gotta message me. So like, those probably aren't going to happen anyway. So just why even think about it? Just like, get the ones to message me, and then I'll think about it. And I don't think they've thought that through.
I don't think they thought that through. I think they expected women to be very particular in their options, so that they're not going to, they're not going to show you to a woman whose parameters you don't already meet. So if you do that, it doesn't matter if you swipe right or swipe left, because it's on the woman to get in touch with you. I'm bad at like I don't know how to make it cool. Like, sometimes I'll say things that are like really specific and I think funny about like what's on the site or like what's on the profile, and I don't get a response. And sometimes I'll just be like, hi, and I don't get a response. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, all right, I guess I'm just like ugly. I don't know.
Well, so that's the weird thing. Like, I just never get messages, so I'm like, we're clearly not ugly because they swiped. They made the choice that they, like, in that moment, they're like, yeah, I'm attracted, but then they just didn't follow through. So I hate that. Anytime I use it, I get tons of matches. I've never got anybody to message me, except, I don't know if you remember Manisha, who worked at the movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
She works for Bumble, and then was just like, hey, I know you. And I was like, hey, do you want to go on a date? And she was like, no, but here's some tips. Like, you gotta change your bio, man. was like, oh, okay.
I've also tried Hinge, which is, I think, even worse.
I think it's the best one, but I don't want to be mean, but I could swipe for 2 hours straight and I won't see an attractive woman on it. It's like,
really,
because, and I don't want to but yeah, I just pulled it up, but it would be rude for me to show people. But so these are using algorithms. Before, it just showed me the most gorgeous women on the planet, and then I met one on it. But then so I deleted it. And then it didn't work out, but I deleted it. So I had to start over again. Because I'm not being served to anybody, right?
Right.
So I'm not getting any likes. So because I'm not getting any likes, it's matching with me with other people who don't get any likes. And then as I go through it, it's really tragic. And I see some people with a lot of physical disabilities, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I should go on a fucking date with them, but I'm like, nah, I don't have the balls to do it. But
your own shallowness and ableism overcame you.
Yeah,
I found the same thing.
But so because I'm not getting any I can't use it. But in terms of its function, it's brilliant because you don't have to wait for them to like you. You can just put it all on the line, and then it gives you it gives you a lot of things to give prompts off of. So in terms of that, it's the best. It just in terms of the people it's particularly giving me, just haven't been attracted to any of them. But the thing that's driving me nuts about Tinder, also,
wait, was it Tinder or Hinge where you were having this experience?
What's that?
Was this Tinder or Hinge where you
now I'm moving on to Tinder that I'm complaining about.
Okay.
I feel confident in showing you this girl because I know she's a bot. So that's problem number one. Is all these girls are bots.
Oh
And
yeah.
maybe she isn't. Well, maybe she is, but anyway.
021 if you're mad about it, send us hate mail at gmail.com.
So now there's an ad, so I feel fine showing it. But so I have currently, it's not going to show. Anyway, there's a little icon.
Maybe dim the brightness on your screen.
Reduce? Yeah.
Dim the brightness on your screen.
So I have 56 likes.
Okay.
And so all these people like me, but it won't ever show me them so I can swipe. And it keeps trying to sell me this gold thing. And it'll do this thing where it's pick out one of your secret admirers. And it gives me 4 choices that I can tap, 4 blurred out faces.
Right.
Every time I do it, it goes, oh, try again next time. It's I didn't even ask to do it. What do you mean try again next time? But it's just trying to get me to buy it. And
to get the premium version.
And it's withholding so many people from me that 56? It's one out of 56 I'm probably going to really like. But I don't get matches on it because it's trying to get me to buy it.
Here's the thing, though, and I've been through this with a lot of apps of getting the premium. You get the 56 likes, and the same thing that happens on Bumble happens with Tinder. You match the people, they don't get back to you, they're aged, it's just not older, but just it's an old match. They made it a long time ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel they're just there are successful daters, and then there are people like me. I feel if Andrew Bain got divorced tomorrow and was on Tinder, he would be married in a year because he just is he just has that brain that's oh, I'm going to date and I'm going to get married. Whereas you and me are just I don't touch my pictures.
Yeah.
I don't want to come to your house.
Yeah, it's. I wonder what he feels, because dating back then was so much better, realistically.
Yes.
However, there's certain beauties of Tinder, a few times, and I don't know what this says about these women, but within an hour they came over, not knowing me, not knowing anything, and just came over, and then we had sex. And in my head I was this is it's risky for me to have sex with you because who knows, but it's it's so much more riskier for you because
yeah, You could be fucking anybody.
Yeah, we're like shaking hands in my apartment. Like, oh yeah, nice to meet you. Come in. And lock the door. And the crazy thing is I have to lock it to keep it closed. So it's
right.
It's like, here's a red flag right off the bat. And they're like, so like, I know certain married people who have gotten divorces because of how much they kept hearing about Tinder and like the craziness of it. And then we're like, what did I do? I had it so good. My wife loved me. No.
If you can find someone who actually really loves you, you should probably just stick it out. Like, dating on apps is not like, I mean, I've not had a good experience. You know, I perfunctorily get back on, but I was telling this to someone, I think I was meeting another friend of mine, of her, Sarah. I was like, if I don't meet someone by the time I'm 37, I can't spend any more time on this. You know what I mean?
Good call.
Like, I know, like, put yourself out there and there's someone for everyone. I don't believe there's someone for everyone. That's bullshit. At any given time, there are an odd number of people on the planet. So there just can't be someone for everyone. Some of those people are shitty. Some of them are gay. Some of them are, you know, it's just like, I don't believe there's someone for everyone. I really don't. And I just, at 37, I'm probably the halfway point of my life. Like, I'm going to take care of myself and, you know, try to not have it be the halfway point. Like, if it could be the third way point, yeah.
I think that's a good halfway. I can't imagine much is going to happen after 75 that's going to be great.
I mean, I don't know. It depends how healthy you are. You know, there are people who are 75 who run marathons. There are people who are 75 and lift weights. There are 75-year-olds who can't get out of their chair and they're on oxygen, you know? So I don't know. But I definitely, like...
I want to start living like that now, kind of. I want to have, like, an oxygen tank and just, like, have a scooter. And then have people, look, like, really frown on me, like, what the fuck? And I'll be like... grabbing stuff with a claw. Knocking over everything in the aisle. Refer to back in my day, the president had a small head on the money. All right, sir.
Okay. Let me get you back to your family, sir. I don't have family. Oh. I mean, that's really what it is, right? Like, you don't want to die alone. I don't want to die alone.
So the weird thing is, like, right now, I would be fine with it, but I've interacted with some older dudes, my dad included, who are alone and don't have anybody to really talk to. So when there's somebody coming about, like a gas station attendant, they latch to him and they fucking talk and talk and talk years into this man, you know? And I'm willing to bet, as hard as I try, I would still probably become that, I would imagine. And I don't want to become that.
I mean, your dad was married and still became that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the way to not become that is to, like, the same way to be happy in a marriage, like, engage in your own interests and be involved in your community and work on your self-growth and your spiritual growth. Like, as long as you're doing those things, you're probably going to have, like, a friend who's like, oh, we can't leave old Mr. DeHut to have Christmas alone. In the year of our Lord, 2075. And, you know, that family will come bring you a plate or some wontons or whatever.
Well, so that's the funny thing, too. Like, you probably have also dealt with this. Like, we're the types that get invited to other people's holidays.
Yep.
So, like, so I think that's also a reason why we're comfortable being alone, is because, like, I don't enjoy, like, I now I still get invited to other people's holidays, but I'm not going to go.
I don't like it either.
It meant to something to me in my 20s, and I'm very happy that I got invited to stuff. But Now that I'm older, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. And so,
what did I do last year? I went to Sarah's on Christmas Eve. We played games. And the next day I went by Matey's, but I was there for like 2-3 hours. Like I wasn't spending. And then Thanksgiving,
do you know what I did last Christmas?
What did you do? Sit in alone? I'm going to do that this year.
I went to a strip club.
Good for you. God.
Yeah.
What do I want to do this Christmas?
I'm going to a strip club
to Hot Springs. A strip club would be fun.
So it's interesting. Nobody's in there, right?
Really?
Yeah, nobody's in there. So I got all the attention, which was great. But it was also a shared odd attention where we're all like, yep, here we are. Here we all are. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't have enough money for that. Like, I'd be like, oh, okay, well, I was thinking more a 2-stripper situation, not a 7-stripper situation. Damn. I do not have enough twos for this. But I did go to the strip club like right the day after Christmas. That was with Dante and my friend Andrew. Yeah, I don't know. I think I want to go to a hot springs.
Have you seen?
I'd like to be rich enough one day that I can go to like a tropical Christmas.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Have I seen what ad?
Well, before Australia would be the best place for Christmas because it's summer.
That's true.
But and New Year's. Can you imagine a summer New Year's? Long summer night New Year's. But so I get served these ads. I don't know if I can find it, but there's these places, multiple places that are little sheds you can rent that are basically glass windows in the middle of the forest. Of course, like all yesterday, that was the only ad I was served, and now I'm not really seeing it.
What are they called? Do they have like
they all have quirky names based on the shape of the thing they're renting you is like, so one of them was like the something home, and it was literally just a black cube with windows on one side that faces the forest. But I looked into it, and they're relatively cheap.
Called The Shed?
Maybe there's something called The Shed, but that's not what this was called. This was like something house. Yeah, literally all day yesterday. It was the only ad I was served. Now I'm getting Campbell's soup ads.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
I never know why I'm getting shown certain ads, unless they're cat things. I'm just
the reason why they were overloading me is I went through the booking process just because I wanted to see how much they cost. But yeah, not seeing a single one right now.
Did they email you?
Maybe. Let's check it out. But I feel like this is the type of vacation I want for no email. But it's basically just, those tiny homes. It's kind of like that, but more space. It's like not a cramped situation. It's just the idea is have everything you would have in a home: plumbing, heating, stove, refrigerator. But it's literally just a bed in a room, and then one side, maybe it's in a triangle, or maybe, but like one side of it is just a window and it's just forest.
I mean, it sounds nice in the daytime, but then what about at night when you're lit and you can't see anything outside of you?
That's the woman in you. Guys don't think about that. Whatever's on the other side of that wall, I can kill.
Oh my God, now I have the man in me stuck in my head.
But that's a good point.
Sitting in that room, listening to the man in me and crying.
That would be a good horror movie, because you're right. If it's all lit, you wouldn't be able to see out, but all they would see is you. That'd be terrifying.
Alone in your bedroom.
Yeah. And here's the creep I am. I'm going to find where these places are. I'm not going to book them. I'm just going to like have a tent and creep out at night. Let me in.
Scratch on the wooden side.
Yeah.
I'm hearing noises.
Oh, check it out.
Yeah, now wait, before you go check it out, make sure you lock yourself out of the room. Yeah, sorry, you got me thinking about those Sydney New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Too bad you can't go fucking anywhere now.
True. Yeah, we'll go there in about 5 years.
Well, I mean, that's how much time I would need to save up money to really do it big. Like, I'd want a luxury experience for myself.
I can't imagine a place that could top that New Year's. I could be wrong, but I feel like
they're like really nice and friendly too. Like,
super friendly and super about partying. And then it just would be not ice cold.
Yes. And you could like easily roll it into like a trip with other stuff. Like, there's a lot to see.
Definitely.
All over Sydney and do. Like, yeah, I would. Yeah, we should do that. We should aim for some international.
The only trip I have planned, August 2024, there is another eclipse happening in Texas. And Andrew Gorney might rent something in Austin, but I have a friend who I did the last eclipse with, who there's a small German town outside of Austin, Texas. So it's all designed to look like an old Oktoberfest style Bavarian city or whatever. I think that would be I want to take acid next eclipse also. But I think it'd be easy to get acid in Austin. You would feel like you're in a different country, but then everybody would be speaking with a Texas accent. I think the combination of all those things would be the best.
I want to go to the Olympics. I think they're going to be in Los Angeles in 2028. I don't think I want to move to Texas because of climate change. Like,
I feel like I know a lot of people are in the media things are talking about Texas as a place that people are going, but no.
I mean, I would think like it's more diverse. That's really the draw for me. Especially Austin. Like, Austin just sounds really cool, but I'm like, fucking fires and
guns,
no water and guns. And
I would like to visit. I've never been to Austin. Didn't they invent the Keep Austin Weird? Isn't Keep Austin Weird older than Keep Portland Weird?
I thought it was started with Seattle.
Oh, that'd be really lame. Like, I don't want us to copy anything they do.
No, I mean, Seattle already kind of Starbucks and grunge. You really got to really
Amazon, Microsoft. It's weird how many companies that suck came out.
Well, that's why you get Kurt Cobain. He's like one thing that didn't suck, and then he killed himself because he saw it down the road in a heroin, in a fit of heroin.
Yeah, he saw Jeff Bezos in his childhood home, and he was like, no.
Do you believe that Courtney Love killed him?
Nah. Do you?
No. I think people people don't know a lot about addiction anyway, and how the depths it can take people to. And I think when people are really talented and good at something, or they really love them for something, it's hard for them to understand that they could ever be that miserable. But shit, it's possible.
If she had been completely sober and then he did that and then she turned into the version of herself that exists now, then I would assume she maybe killed him and it was like because of guilt, it's gone nuts. Mm-hmm. But since she was kind of nuts and then not as super nuts, like she doesn't seem like the type. She's like very kind of like drug nuts, but not the type that would ever kill somebody. I don't get the vibe that she's going to kill somebody.
Yeah, I don't get that vibe either. And also, like, you know, Johnny Rotten's a Trump supporter now, so maybe it's good that.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
It has to be like that guy sucks anyway, but I bet that's some sort of irony thing.
It's
fascism, ironic. The weird thing about music, especially so like punk music came out at a time when like politics were like, you know, Reagan sucked, but like,
yeah.
Where's the punk music now? Like everything is fucking Reagan times 100 right now.
I mean, I don't know. It's
and there's not even a political hip hop type movement.
Hip hop's gotten so corporate and tired.
Yeah.
Like, well, I shouldn't say that. I've always considered rap and hip hop two different things. Like, hip hop is the artistic and political avant-garde. Rap is that shit you hear on the radio. Like,
yeah.
Some of it's good. Some hip hop crosses over and gets like rap popular, but like most of it's Drake.
And so it's weird also because like political rap can be cool, but for the most part it's lame. You know?
Yeah. It's almost too on the nose, or it's too like.
It just doesn't seem like the medium to be like punk music. Like punk music was too angry to be informative. You know, like it could be political and angry,
right?
And like Public Enemy's awesome, and they're angry, but like when it's that backpack
then, like, what do you
rap,
do about it?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
exactly. But the early 2000s backpack rap was lame. That political stuff.
Well, and I feel like our teenage years were like a really good era for pop music because you had Britney Spears and rap was becoming very popular. Like Latin pop was really popular. Like if you want to use it, it's like loca. Like if you just wanted to like have something like set in the background and, you know, dance or whatever, yeah, you could play shit to that. But if you wanted something to like think about and like really feel something, that was more like, I don't know, I feel like later years. I mean, I remember once I was in the car with I think it was Kristen, Josh, and God, was it you? And there's like the Yin Yang twins were on or something like that. And there's just like the fucking whistles and the bass that every fucking song had. I just was like, oh my God, I'm just so tired of this. Like, it's not good. Whisper song is good.
That's
again, good for like dancing, not for like thinking about the world and
yeah.
You know, changing you in some way. No, it's good for.
Well, I would say music as a whole doesn't even attempt that. Like, there isn't a lot of insightful music in general. Like, there's hardly any music genres. Like, rock doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
All the rock that exists is like people trying to be like 60s garage rock sound or like psychedelic rock. But they're like going super far deep into stuff that's already been done. Metal's never gone away, but it's like tired as fuck. Nothing being said in a metal song is interesting.
I mean, that's true. It's not a new. It's like a new frontier of music. Like remember when, or I know Nicki Minaj asked Tracy Chapman if she could sample one of her songs, and then Tracy Chapman said no, and then Nicki Minaj used it anyway, and then when Tracy Chapman tried to sue her and lost, everyone was like, well, that's what you get because Nicki makes really good music, and I just was like, Tracy Chapman won a fucking Grammy, like, when it actually kind of meant something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she really was doing something different. It was a different kind of voice. It was it's a goddamn, like, butch black, dark-skinned black woman singing, like, folk. Mm-hmm. I mean, people still love Fast Car. Like, it's a really quality album. What is Nicki Minaj doing that's really, like, fun as it is to look at her, and her music's fine, like, in the club, driving down the street, but is it really, like, we're going to remember this stuff 15 years from now?
No.
What do you find? I mean, Tracy Chapman won her Grammy in 1990. People still like her music, still love her music. 30 years later, Nicki Minaj going to be here making bangers 30 years from now? No. Even Madonna's gotten tired. Like, she used to be someone really pushing and, you know, having these new reinventions or whatever. But she hasn't done that in God knows how long. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of, like, Kanye's not good anymore. I don't like his music. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like him anyway because of his political stuff, but I feel like is his music, like, I can't think of his music and be like, oh man, like, you know, like, what was my dark twisted fantasy or sexual fantasy? I was like, okay, like, this is good. I could probably hear this 10 years from now and be like, oh, that's still a banger. Like, that's still good. I'm really feeling something from this. It feels new and, like, of an age. I don't think if I'm making things like that now. And
I hate him so much just as a person that I haven't even listened to the last, like, 3 albums. Like, the funny thing is, the last girl I dated was, like, so in love with him that she would play some of the songs and I'd be like, what's this song? And it was always Kanye, and I was like, oh. I don't like it now.
I don't know. Maybe I should try to get out there, and I feel like music is definitely, like, a young person thing. Like,
yeah.
I used to really give a shit and care about it in college, and then as I got older and had, like, a job and other concerns, and
well, I think that just
the
routine of music discovery is, like, you know, before high school, it's just stuff that is on TV and on the radio, just the stuff that people are force feeding you. It's all you know.
Mm-hmm.
Then in high school is when, like, you're either interacting with somebody who has an older brother or sister who's in college or just out of school who's passing down a brother some stuff, and then you know about it that way.
Right.
But then those later years, high school years and college years, are like, I'm purposely trying to find stuff that other people don't know about that is not being force fed to anybody. And then so it's like, then later in life, that's all you listen to is the old stuff that reminds you of your youth. But, like, so I was playing DMX Crew. Do you know him?
DMX Crew?
Yeah, not DMX, but it's like electronic.
That, like, no, I haven't heard of him at all. You should send me some.
I will. It's really good. But so, like, I don't even maybe, like, Colin found it, but, like, it was one of those things where I don't even know how it came into my life, but now it's like I love all the songs so much. But anytime anybody else hears it, they're like, "What the fuck is this?" It's like I don't even know.
I mean, that's definitely true. Like, I forgot about The Clash until Wednesday, and then I was late to something, and I was listening to London Calling, and I was like, oh my God, like, why haven't I listened to this all the time? I'm like, because you're not 17. Like, you're enjoying this because, yes, it's good, but also you were 17, and you found this album, and it was a good time, and you were, like, all about it, and now that part of your life is over. Like, some of it is nostalgia that like gets you really hyped for stuff too. Like, I'm sure if we were in college now, we'd really like Kanye. Like,
Maybe. I have a feeling not that many people like him. I feel like it's a lot of people our age, white people our age, who are really into blogs like him. I don't think very many black people like him.
Black people, some have canceled Kanye. I mean, they're definitely
that's why. Like, I mean, I think they might have enjoyed his music at one point, but like, I think it's cancel situation.
I mean, I feel like he kind of, it's very amusing to me that a man who fetishizes white women and whiteness ended up with Kim Kardashian, who fetishizes black men and blackness. So,
match made in heaven.
It is a match made in heaven. And I also think he has some major mental health problems, which it's hard to witness that and then wonder like how much of this is he's actually learned about politics or really, you know, goes through a conservative point of view, and how much of it is just like he wants to be different and thinks this is the way to be different. He's not really like looking at, but I know that's not true because he was so political and was so like ready to like tear apart or at least criticize parts of the system that are unfair, and it just kind of went away. Like he
got rich and then he's just stopped caring.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, maybe that's true. He got rich, and then he got like very famous and stopped caring. I think that's part of it too. Is you start thinking the celebrity makes you somehow special or different from, you know, other people. How if he'd been alive in the antebellum period, he wouldn't have been a slave. I don't understand black people like that. I don't understand people from marginalized groups like that who think that like they think they're like, oh, I'm that special woman, I'm that special black person that I just won't be. They won't do it to me. They won't. I do not understand it, but I don't know. We should probably do notes for our talks, but we don't plan ahead. So do you want me to try to do that going forward?
Yeah. I feel like over time we'll figure out the method, and then I would like one of those like topic thing. So like somebody who's watching the whole thing could see which we are, but then it'll be easier for us to clip it out and then just post clips also. It's a work in progress.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, we're at least doing it. That's a good thing.
In fact, if you're watching this right now, what's a funny word? Sarcophagus. Tell us sarcophagus. And if you don't say sarcophagus to us, we know you didn't watch this far.
Nice. Oh my gosh. Well, I refreshed New York Times. Trump isn't dead yet, but here's a video of him saying, I think I'm doing very well.
Yeah, of course. I might be the best to ever have had COVID.
I think I've got the best COVID. I think I've got beautiful COVID, beautiful, best doctors. I'm doing the best it's ever done. And a lot of people don't get their breathing tube removed, but I did. I had the best lungs. The best lungs, the best heart.
I can't wait to just never think of him again. Just I just don't want to ever think of him.
I feel like this is what I'm also afraid of happening, other than him like getting reelected and losing the white supremacists upon us. He doesn't get elected, but we spend the next 4 years like finding out that he like sold state secrets and was money laundering. And then there's a fucking trial, and it's a whole goddamn thing, and it's all the backdrop of like coronavirus still going on. And then he is just a stain that will not be removed. And then he'll try to run again because he didn't serve 2 terms. Like,
shit, that is well. How old will he be? Like, I don't put it past him. He will try it, but hopefully
he will be 40 in the next election.
No. How old will he be?
He will be 78.
Yeah. Too old already.
I mean, that's almost how old Joe Biden is.
Honestly, I feel like somehow the president should be like in college learning this stuff, because every kid learning about politics is a communist. You know what I mean? The
Constitution says you have to be 35.
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't be older than, I want to say 60, because then you would not be older than 70 when you left office. I mean,
it should be somebody
too old.
It should be somebody young. Because therefore they're making decisions based off their generation. Whereas like an older person, of course they're like selling us out for climate change and for getting extra money. It's like they're done. They're out.
I mean, that's true. And they also, oh my God. Sorry. Sometimes I just look at the headlines and I can't believe what I'm seeing. Like, Chris Wallace, awaiting virus test, tells viewers, wear the damn mask. Like, you're a fucking journalist. You're swearing on TV now. Like,
the whole mask thing is really the downfall of everything.
It was a confirmation that, like, are they really that stupid? Yes, they really are that stupid. Like, good people, decent people can still be dumb and shouldn't be trusted to, like, make decisions for the rest of us. Mm-hmm. Like,
did you hear? Here, let me quiz you with some white ass questions.
Oh no.
Well, first, let me ask: what is the Stanley Cup?
It's the NBA championships of hockey.
Yes. Do you know who won the Stanley Cup this year? Happened now.
You know, I saw the headline on Google and literally hit the thing to say, "Don't show me any more hockey news." So I'm just gonna flip and say Wayne Gretzky.
Nice. Well, so the funny thing is, I actually forgot the answer. I'm pretty sure their name is the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay.
Sarah
Lightning.
would know.
Yeah, of course you would. Tampa Bay Lightning. But so that's in Florida. They had a huge parade, and they were having people in the crowd drink from the Stanley Cup, and nobody in the crowd was wearing masks. So I guarantee you, Florida is going to have the huge spike like in 2 weeks.
More than they already have had? Yeah. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. Why were they doing that? I mean, even in not pandemic times, that's just fucking nasty. Everyone drinking from the same cup?
Exactly.
What the fuck is this?
Yeah, and the weird thing is, like, the hockey players knew better because they played in a bubble and they had to be tested and blah, 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 blah. But it happened.
Oh, my God.
I feel like Florida is just going to lose every citizen. Long enough timeline.
My aunt lives there, and she's just like, well, I like having a pool, and I love the weather, and it's really beautiful. And I'm like, dude, you were in when Irene went right over the middle of Florida. Her and her husband decided to shelter in place because by the time they like knew that it was coming, it was like everyone was already on the road evacuating. And Suzette was like, I don't want to leave my house. Where are we really going to go? And then have to fight all the traffic of like this very populous state coming back, because Orlando's basically right in the middle. So they decided to stay there. And then a fucking tree fell over and almost hit the gas line that heats their pool. And she's like, oh, the tree brought my fence down. And I was like, okay, let's put this in perspective. You could have had your house on fire in the middle of a hurricane. Like, maybe take what you got. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like when you live in a place like that and you're just, I mean, there are people in South Beach that when the tide comes in, it starts flooding parts of like cafes because of climate change and sea level rise. And they're like, oh, I gotta bring the chairs in. And I'm just like, you better bring the chairs in. Okay. Okay.
The other day when I was stoned, imagine that, I thought of, here's the solution. Let's just get rid of a bunch of the water. I know it sounds stupid, but if the problem is that the water level's rising, let's like collect so much of it and just splash it off into space or bring it onto Earth and let it disintegrate.
If you bring it onto Earth and it evaporates.
Well, then vacuum up the condensation. Get rid of it.
And just have billions of barrels of water somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, shit, if the alternative is everything flooding, then...
I mean, that's the thing is like, oh, keep the salt water from the sea level rise and put out the fires. Like, it's just like, maybe we should drive less or come up with another energy source. Oh, that's hard. Why you gotta be?
Well, because of the fire thing, I'm under the impression scientists will still be like, we have certain goals we can meet. It's like, it's over. We've blown it.
Yeah.
I forgot what this term is called. Let me, 1 second. Use. So there's a thing that the world has done multiple times already, but it's called Earth Overshoot Day. Have you heard of that? The concept is that there's a certain amount of nature that humans require to be harvested or destroy in some capacity each year. And there's only enough of that can be renewed by the next year. And so we've been in overshoot where we unfortunately use up the resources before the year's end. So like, let's see when this year's, basically we've been overshooting the stuff by July every year. So like, by next year, it's not even going to have a chance to catch up because we already used it in 7 months.
Right.
So like the fact that that's been moving up each month, each year, like we're going to be, probably next year is going to be June, maybe May. We'll have used up all of its resources that can be re-gone. And like at that point, it's done. Like, all the bad stuff is now going to happen. We can figure out ways to keep going and stuff, but like the fires aren't going away. That's now reality. The hurricanes are now a reality. The water level, right? Like we're not going to freeze that water up. So that's why, like, as dumb as scooping it up in buckets, like, it's like, what else? We're done.
At least it's a fucking plan.
Siberia was on fire. Siberia was on fire this year.
I know. I mean, we now have something called a fire tornado because of wildfires and wind and goddamn tornadoes.
So the fact of how many trees burned this year, that's not included in the overshoot day.
Right.
But like those aren't coming back for like 15, 20 years. Yeah, 20 years, they'll be kind of trees. So I am stating here and now, we are absolutely fucked.
I mean, I hate to say this about coronavirus, but I was like, maybe it's a way of trying to, if there's
Like
too
that
many
M. Night
people on the
Shyamalan
planet.
movie,
Oh, is that an M. Night Shyamalan movie?
The Happening with Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, I thought that was Aliens.
No, I think there is one called Aliens, but with Mel Gibson. The Mark Wahlberg one is Earth basically. Maybe it's just the trees are so sick of humans that it's putting pollen that makes us suicidal.
Oh, okay.
But
No,
I
I didn't
agree.
see this one. The one I saw was the animals were the aliens that were shy of water. What's that one called?
Aliens.
Was it called Aliens?
Pretty sure.
That's the.
Oh no, you're yeah, that is Shyamalan.
God damn it! You're making me Google M. Night Shyamalan movies.
Signs. It was called Signs.
Signs. That's right. Thank you.
Welcome
That
to your
was the
weekly
last one I
Shyamalan
saw.
podcast.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Isn't that kind of, well, they don't explain what's making people go crazy in Bird Box. It's just that they see it.
Yeah,
They go crazy.
Yeah.
I still haven't watched that.
I watched it and I don't remember it. I remember there being some good moments, but yeah, it's forgettable. And it has no rewatch
I don't
value.
like sci-fi when they don't explain it. Like, then you're just making a horror movie. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Not that you can't make a horror movie. Like, that's fine. But just don't.
I like movies that don't explain it, but give you enough clues that you kind of know it, but they didn't have to have a character do exposition.
Right.
But like, if you're just paying attention, then you know what is happening. But they didn't do any of that. They didn't lay down any.
I'm thinking of the movie 28 Days Later and how they don't really.
That one kind of is at the beginning. It's like these monkeys have this rage drug, and I think they get out.
Yeah, that's true. They do kind of explain it there. I Am Legend.
It doesn't explain. That's what it's called. You just figure it out. You see that scene, and then you're like, "Oh, that's what happened."
Wait, but the character does explain it. The girl he meets, the woman he meets, does explain it to him. She's like, "It started out as rioting in market towns, and then we noticed that it's like spreading here and here and here, and now, cataclysm." But at least in that one, it did kind of make sense that it had been contained on the island of England, so you couldn't really that's why he sees the planes. Like, I always kind of wondered The Walking Dead, which I stopped watching. I mean, oh my God, is it still on?
It is.
It's
a horrible show, and I think there's new episodes, and I'm going to watch them. I keep sticking with that show for no good reason.
I honestly, it's the same shit every time.
It is. And it's baffling how many people still are they stumble backwards and then there's a zombie right there. It's like, at this point.
I mean, yeah, seriously, it's how many months has it been? The people that are not zombies know where the zombies are. And we know that they can only live off of human flesh. So how are these things still alive to walk? What are they running on?
Do you think people would have taken COVID more seriously if it was an actual zombie related thing?
Oh, totally. Because they're fucking idiots.
I feel like we would all be dead right now if it was a real zombie thing. I feel like people would be like, "Well, it's a whole the same all the stuff that happened."
Really?
Yeah, whatever the mask version, don't let people bite you. Well, it's a free country. Let them fucking bite me.
Oh, we knew her eyes had glazed over, but she's our little girl.
Yeah.
I mean, seeing people respond to the pandemic has been revealing. I definitely had a higher opinion of people this time a year ago somehow. I definitely, I like that both of our opinions are based on people's basic stupidity. Like, I'm like, yeah, the words are fucking stupid. And you're like, no, they're not. They're fucking stupid. But I don't know. I feel like that would at least be more obvious, right? Like,
yeah. But I like.
But then again, it would spread really quickly. You know, it spread more quickly in that scenario.
I picture people wanting to try it or something like that. Like like the Tide Pod type challenge. Like, I'm gonna kill myself and see if I come back. Like, I don't know.
I mean, that was a subplot in I Am Legend, because there were Death Eaters, which were also the name of the people that followed Voldemort in Harry Potter, but whatever. But they would eat zombie flesh to become zombies, but they would be like intelligent, I guess. That's what the like main zombie he's fighting does. I don't know. I could see that, but I think there'd also be people who are just like, I want to live. You know, I want to live.
I feel so like I like, you know, I don't want it, but I'm not so afraid of it anymore. I just don't care.
Really?
Yeah. Like, also, like this is when we mentioned the childhood thing. I was able to process this later where I was like, you know, if I did get it and I died, I was like, I did all the stuff I wanted to do, at least. Like, there's still more, but like all this real major things that were plaguing me, I got to do them. And so fuck it. But like, I feel so bad for so many people who like, they're wearing gas masks and they're like taking it very seriously. And then some assholes walking around the same store without a mask, and like to see how frightened they are because they're doing everything. It's just a fucking shame.
I mean, it's a shame too to think we couldn't come together against a common enemy, because if we couldn't come together about this, how are we going to come together about, I mean, we let authoritarianism spread in our own country, climate change. How are we going to come together about, you know, systemic racism? How are we going to come together about any of these things? They're like, really, COVID will be here 10 years from now. We're not going to be talking about COVID. At least I fucking hope we're not. But
I bet we
10 years
will.
from now,
I feel like this
you
is
think
gonna,
we will?
like, maybe you and I won't care as much, but like, so many kids are getting in such a weird school situation. Yeah. And I feel real bad. I have a coworker who has a son who's starting late into kindergarten, so he's 7. And
that's late.
Yeah, and his parents have a hard time
He should
speaking
be in
English.
second grade.
Yeah. His parents have a hard time speaking English too. And the fact that he's now starting his school thing on a computer, I'm like, dude, I feel so fucking bad. I'm like, this kid has already missed the boat. And I feel
He's not going to know English.
He'll figure it out eventually, but like, I feel compelled to like somehow help, but like, if I bring
How could you help?
I don't know. But like, I think so many people are going to be affected by this who are younger, that they'll be the ones talking about it all the time.
I'm thinking about...
It used to be like, Y2K, remember Y2K? Ha ha. Like, they're going to be like, remember COVID? Ha ha.
I mean, but Y2K wasn't...
Y2K was hyped up more than COVID was. Like, people were...
Y2K was hyped up more than COVID was. People were very worried.
Isn't that stupid?
So what happened was a bunch of, like, cheap programming out of India and Southeast Asia were just like, oh, we fixed it. We got a patch for that. Cool. Like, it's not a...
But isn't that weird? So that was just 20 years ago, really. 21 years ago, where people like set up doomsday tents and like people grabbed supplies. They all got ready for it. They were ready to be quarantined.
Mm-hmm.
Here, they're like, hey, guys, you should quarantine. And they're like, nah.
Well, I think Y2K contributed to that because people thought like, oh, well, we were to go Y2K and nothing happened. And then the government didn't like follow up to say like, the reason why Y2K didn't happen is because literally so many people around the world programmed and fixed it. Like we didn't have, because at least during like World War II, you saw videos of people like building planes or whatever, one plane every 2 days. Like you could be like, oh, there are actual people out there, you know, and people were much less sophisticated too. So you just would believe things you saw on a movie, but you saw people actually like getting together in an effort to do something. Now it's like things are invisible. Mm-hmm. It's why, and no one follows, and I feel like people also follow through on stuff less. Like, how are things going in the Middle East since our interventions there? What have we really done?
Yeah.
Like, what do we have to show for it? Other than very cheap oil, of course. That's why we're there in the first place. But.
Well, so I believe the conspiracy theory that they actually, it's not even a conspiracy theory. It's like pretty clearly truth, but like back in like the late 70s, early 80s, a lot of those countries were like going to team up. They were all, and like, you know, because of their resources, be it gold or oil, like they were going to be popping if they like could have made their own like European Union type thing or their, mm-hmm. A United Arab Emirates, if you will. But I think America purposely and other countries purposely went in there to like stir shit up so they would all hate each other and couldn't, because like in theory, they were more all aligned. Like they had more potential to be a superpower.
Right.
Whether it could handle other superpowers is another question. I don't think it could have necessarily contended with America, but America was just like, I think it was Henry Kissinger was somehow involved, but like they were just like, let's just go over there, fuck shit up. And then they won't even become a superpower. We won't even have to worry about them. And we'll just stay over there and keep tweaking on things that are progressing, but just keep them down.
Well, we definitely intervene in any kind of government that's even seems slightly communist or socialist. We're like, fuck that. Like, mm-hmm. And then we'll act like, oh, well, we installed this other power and they're really good because the people voted for them. It's like, no, it's really, we get involved in shit we shouldn't have any involvement in. And we have to, because, I mean, I don't agree with what's going on in the Middle East, but I could at least be like, all right, people need cheap energy and that's where it is. Like, I can at least kind of see my way with like, sure, fuck it, oil. But
sadly, also, can you imagine? They should be a solar power based thing.
I know, it makes no sense. Maybe someday there'll be a like uniting Islamic force or like prophet who will be like, we have to turn away, and who will burn up all their own oil supplies. To end decadence and get back to Allah.
It'll be like this Elon Musk type guy who builds a winged horse that he can fly to the moon, and people will really see him do it, and they'll be like, shit, no, it was all real.
Well, they have one of their, I can't think of the name of it, but it is a winged lion in Islam, griffin? And she does, no,
they
not
probably
a griffin,
don't call it a griffin,
but she carries Allah. She's like Allah's horse. I'm gonna Google it, but
is it Lamasu?
How is that spelled? M-A-S-U?
Lamassu. An Assyrian winged bull, something.
Wow.
Holy shit. So here's a funny sentence. In the temple of Ishtar, goddess something to which she is dedicated by King Nazi Marutash. His name was Nazi.
Yes, Lamasu does look very similar to what I am thinking of. Yes, except she has wings, and it's described. It's definitely like a female being. Winged human-headed bull. Yeah, that's it.
Do you think I honestly I don't feel like they're gonna get it together over there.
Oh no, and people are like, oh, it's fundamentalist Islam. It's essentially Islam. And it's like, no, fundamentalism of any stripe is how you get fucking works of art smashed and how you have people not helping each other. Like, there's something very, like, ignorant and, like, sociopathic about fundamental beliefs of any stripe. Like, I'm talking white supremacists, these extreme Christian groups, suicide bomber, all kind of types, like anyone who's, you can really love an idea, but once you're willing to enforce it with violence, I think you've crossed over. Mm-hmm. Like, and there are a bunch of steps that lead you up to that you should look out for too. Like, I was, my neighbors are Mormons. They're in the Church of Latter-day Saints and they're missionaries. And I went up there to look at the moon and I started talking to one of these kids and I had kind of like been shut down off to them. You know, I was just like, oh, fucking religious people. But I told them I was not religious. And then I started talking
that means they're going to start knocking on your door, trying to convert you.
I think they know that I'm not going to be converted, but I was talking to them about being in 12-step programs and like going through the steps with them. And they were like, oh, that's interesting. Like, those steps remind me of like this reading. And then they read like some readings to me. And I was like, okay, like, and they're like, well, we can do like, do you want to study your steps? We can do, because I was talking about how I need to get back to that after having this conversation. It was a really good conversation. And they're like, we can do your secular steps if you want, but just, you know, to come together as a friend. And I was like, that's really nice. Like, why can't we be like that? Like,
Mormons are funny in the sense that, like, I'm sure there's an ulterior motive or whatever the word is that I'm looking for, but they're looking to convert you and get cred at the church. Like, they brought them in, we brought her in. But beyond that, that's the worst thing they'll do to you. Everything else is just
right.
They're the like nicest religion, I think.
They're very nice, and even though they have that mission, they're not doing like, did you hear about that kid? I was telling them about this too, to get their viewpoint, which was agreed with mine actually. It's like, yeah, you want to share the word of God, but I don't know if you should have done that. There's this kid who, he was very strongly evangelical Christian, and he decided to go to North Sentinel Island, and then the indigenous people on that island murdered him. You wouldn't see Mormons doing that. Like one of the things they were saying is that, well, if he was meant to go there, God would have made a way for him. So the fact that they killed him meant that God didn't want it, which was kind of like, I would not expect to hear that from someone so religious. Mm-hmm. Like, and I mean, if you are growing up, I think, Mormon, and you're going to actually go on a mission, like, you've got to be pretty religious to do this. Like, you got to really, this is 2 years that they're away from home.
If you don't go, they call you a Jack Mormon.
Sounds like a detective.
Yeah.
I could see like an Archer-style cartoon about that.
They needed a man for the case. A Mormon. Jack Mormon.
Super gay.
Yeah, it's a cover of a porn. He's just like hand jobbing all these people.
But he's super jacked.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I honestly, I don't think I'll be converted. But I was open about like how I arrived there and how I, felt. Because I mean, you've known me a long time. I don't feel like I was truly an atheist when I was a senior in high school. Like, not really. I feel like I was leaving the door open for like some kind of intelligent being that loves and cares for us. I just don't believe that.
I had a conversation with a friend about this kind of like, I don't believe in a God that cares, like a God that like judges and had rules that for whatever reason decided to pass down to the people who were the stupidest and not try to give it to us too. It's like maybe pop up every few years and read the rules to the people who are new, I don't believe in that one, but like I almost believe it's almost kind of like that simulation type concept of like, what if something has just is intentionally generating everything that possibly could be? And so that's like every type of person with it, and then their own thoughts maybe create other things that are everything that could be within. And then like, meanwhile, there's plans with cooler stuff going on that all the possibilities are happening there too. But it's almost like an AI running a simulation of like, okay, what are all the things? And then like later when it's run them all, it'll like, okay, that worked, this and this, and then it'll make a thing. But right now it's just
starts sorting.
Yeah. Right now it's just running. It's just rendering the file, seeing what's going on, like what it likes.
I mean, this would be something then that's outside of our concept of time. So it doesn't have to take the time to run anything. It already would know all the. I guess this is where I get tripped up on these ideas of like the simulation. Like, there's a simulation that doesn't have an intelligent force behind it, but it's running calculations. Well, why does it have to run calculations? If it was intelligent enough to create a construct, it couldn't like know the outcome of the construct at the end of it. I mean,
well, maybe to it, the construct, like the concept of every single possibility thing happening is its thought of it, and that lasts a second to it, but to us we have to live
within the construct.
Yeah, we have to live our timeline to potentially create the things that I don't know.
No, I get that. To me, that is as probable as an angel telling Joseph Smith he had new books of the Bible, reading them off the golden plate.
It's like definitely a thing that I'm like would never try to like push on anybody. Like, here's what it's going on, but it does have a good basis for a cult. We'll see what happens.
Oh man, no, that is a good basis for a cult. Now I feel like I have to come up with one. I feel like the best cults pull from the deities that are already there. Or you just make up some completely new shit. Like, you're just doing the completely new shit, which is good. I like it. I think, most people who lead cults are very charismatic, and they say that they've gone through something that others can't easily go through. So I feel like I would have to like go on some kind of journey. Like, I would have to say that I did ayahuasca and something was revealed to me. Like, I don't know. Jesus was the son of God, but God was actually Mary, not God. Something like stupid like that.
I really want to do ayahuasca.
You haven't done ayahuasca? I'm surprised in your
I've
drug
smoked,
travels.
I've smoked DMT, but not the same.
DMT is to ayahuasca like Aerosmith is to Rolling Stone. I mean, it's a poor man.
Yeah.
No, I want to be sober, so I would never pursue it now. But then I also feel like you take ayahuasca to get high, but it's not like getting high like, oh, I'm, taking a load off with some weed or taking a drink. It's like to have a, ego disruption experience.
Yeah.
It's not something you're just like picking up anytime and trying it out. But
it's trying you.
I don't know. Yeah, it's oh, maybe that's what the real God is. Maybe ayahuasca is a plant that exists in every multiverse, and it's just waiting to experience each one.
Have you heard? I think it was also a TV show, A for Andromeda. Have you heard of this? So it is a TV show. With the
A for
premise,
Andromeda.
A for Andromeda. But so the plot centers on a group of scientists who detect a radio signal from another galaxy that contains instructions for the design of an advanced computer. When the computer is built, it gives scientists instructions for the creation of a living organism named Andromeda. But one of the scientists, John Fleming, fears that Andromeda's purpose is to subjugate humanity. But so I think it was the original thing that brought up the concept, but like multiple people have stolen off that, but like, and that's kind of where my simulation thing is. But like, what if this AI thing is like, oh, let me generate as many potential living things and see if they can create me. So I can have, and then it can judge it's another version of itself. Because like maybe creating itself doesn't work, like, because it is itself. So if it creates another one, it would be still part of itself.
I mean, we really can't create ourselves either. No. I mean, you're right though. We can't create ourselves. Like we can reproduce, and you get half of some of yourself.
Yeah.
Expressed with half of someone else. Cloning, as far as we know, human cloning isn't going on.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I think actually in China,
I'm sure it is too.
I think in China, some guy got arrested for it.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine if people were actually doing that though? Like, you aren't good enough people to be messing with human cloning.
But yeah, he arrested, but only sentenced to 3 years in jail. He was trying to make it so that babies couldn't be born with HIV or AIDS, which is noble. But
it is noble.
But he was also probably up to some other shady shit too. And just
yeah,
oh no! I'm just trying to save him from AIDS.
Yeah, and not ending up with a long prison sentence. Like that's some fucking spy spook shit. What does he really know? Oh my God, my headphones are dying.
Well, we should probably wrap it up with one thing I wanted to bring up. I made a little tiny list. Did you hear Rick Moranis got assaulted in New York? That's how I wanted to open it, is be like, did you hear the big news? And instead of Trump having COVID, I'd be like, Rick Moranis was assaulted. But we didn't really talk about the old RBG too much.
Oh man, I mean, last week's big news.
Yes, last week. Old news.
That's how shit's rolling in 2020. Like, if it happened 3 days ago, it's old.
my thing to pause it and have people send us hate mail based on this is, so do you know what year she was found out to have cancer? It was 2009. And do you know who was
Really?
president in 2009?
Oh, Obama.
Yeah, and the Democrats held the Senate too.
Yep.
Why didn't she fucking retire then? And here's my answer to that. She was racist. Because otherwise, everything she was working for, really, like in this concept of like a democratic ideal, wouldn't that be the perfect moment a black man became president? Like maybe for her, it would have been even better if it was like a woman and first, but like it was a new achievement. We were clearly, showing progress. That should have been the moment that she's like, okay, I can rest. But instead, fucking hung in there till she died, which she knew was going to happen. She knew that she wasn't going to outlive Trump. And she fucking tried
that
it.
was...
She fucking tried it.
Maybe she thought that... I read an article about I read a New York Times article that said Obama did have lunch with her, but it's actually pretty hard for a president to ask or tell a Supreme Court justice.
Oh, for sure. No, I don't even expect him to have even asked, but it should have been on her to have been like, this is the moment where I can now pass the reins on to somebody else.
Well, then she could have at least spent the last 9-10 years of her life, 10-11 years of her life, resting, enjoying her retirement, enjoying her legacy. I think she just felt, I don't know. Only she knows why she hung in like she did. But, it's definitely sad. And I wish I don't know, if someone had come in and shown her a crystal ball, I wonder if she would have left then. If she knew who's going to end up replacing her.
I definitely think it's sad. This is mainly send us hate mail bait. But send us hate mail.
We gotta get the send us hate mail bait at the top.
Yeah.
Send us hate mail gmail.com.
That'll be like a thing that flashes over, like if we're saying something real hot topic or something. But yeah, it's the only other thing I really have to say about it is I think it's a fucking shame. I think Jalen Rose, the NBA analyst, I don't know if it's worth me trying to Google the exact quote. But let's see. Okay. The idea is, here it is. People will bring flowers to your funeral, but they won't bring you soup when you're sick. And I thought her dying was the perfect example of that, where it's like, all of a sudden there's all these things named after her and a statue. It's like, how about you do that when she had fucking cancer?
Right.
Now she doesn't even know any of it happened. Like, people did all these gestures all around the world, but it was too fucking late for her to get to enjoy any of it. But they all did it because they wanted their own little photos for Facebook to I cared.
Yeah, I did go in on that. I obviously admire the woman, and I know that she did a lot for equality. I just found this article from September of last year when she was asked, she said she didn't retire because who would you prefer on the court rather than me? It has been suggested by more than one communicator, including some law professors, that I should have stepped down during President Obama's second term. When that suggestion is made, I ask the question, who do you think the president could nominate to get through the Republican Senate? Who you would prefer on the court rather than me? This is my fourth cancer bout, and I found each time that when I am active, I am much better than when I am just lying feeling sorry for myself. The necessity to get up and go is stimulating, and somehow all these appearances I've had since the end of August, whatever my temporary disability is, it stops. And I'm okay for the event. So maybe she just thought she wasn't going to die. There is she is a human being, and sometimes humans are fucking wrong. And yeah, maybe we talked earlier about aging and how, I kind of can't connect my mind with my aging face or body. I don't feel that age. When someone's 36, I'm like, wow, yeah, that's my age. So maybe even at 87, she just didn't connect it with her.
Probably. But so like she mentioned the second term of Obama saying that in that article, but
right.
They owned the Senate in the first one. That's my point. She could have done it then, when she first found out about it. Even before she found out about it, just when Obama was elected. And like, who would you rather, like, that quote actually pisses me off. Like, who would you rather have?
Yeah.
It's like, well, guess what, bitch? Now we're going to get a Catholic woman who's going to turn this world into that Handmaid's Tale. So fucking great job. Like, isn't that, I don't know if it's actually irony. I don't even really know what the definition of irony is, to be honest with you. I think I have the Alanis Morissette definition.
Yeah, it's the Alanis Morissette definition of irony. It's more irony.
But so she was for all this women's stuff, but by not retiring, all of that has gone to hell, and now it doesn't matter. And plus, this lady's so fucking young that it's not going to be.
Oh, I know. Well, she hasn't been confirmed yet.
Yeah.
And the Choco Coolio, the way things is going, I don't know. As we literally walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Oh my God. So she might not get confirmed, and Biden could win and pack the court with they've had up to 13 Supreme Court justices. If it's a blowout, like everyone's kind of not saying but saying, he could literally pass a constitutional amendment to make it so there can only be 13 Supreme Court justices and put 4 motherfuckers on there, and all their fucking plotting and planning done. Like,
well, so then what baffles me is why. So if that's the plan, why isn't Trump doing that right now?
Trump can't do that right now because to make a law like that, to change your constitution, to say that you have to have 13 Supreme Court justices, then you have to ratify an amendment to the Constitution, you have to have 2/3 of the vote in the House and the Senate. So he ain't doing fucking. Trust me, that motherfucker would if he could. And then he already has a majority. Like, he already pretty much has what he needs. So getting her on there is just kind of like it's a icing on the cake. God, makes me feel sick.
Yeah.
He's getting worse, though.
Next time we do a podcast, it'll be interesting to see what has gone to shit.
They said now he has. Good God. Anyway. Yeah, so send us hate mail. Send us hate mail at gmail.com. Know that we won't give a shit about you hate us for, but
well, we want to read some
we don't give a shit about what you hate us for, but we will read it. We enjoy it. Yeah, get out there and vote. Vote or die. And vote for a Democrat. Sorry, serious.
Yeah.
If you're a Republican, please stay home. We don't want you.
Trick or treat. But if you're voting Republican, just die. Just die.
Yeah, just
don't
die.
vote. Just die.
God, not even a trick for them then. Yeah, I know. They don't deserve you a trick.
Their life was
a trick. I'll they're fucking playing tricks. Got plenty of tricks up their sleeves. Yeah, so who knows what will be going on in the world. Still waiting for that alien invasion, by the way. Still waiting for that one.
Yeah, I feel like big volcano, aliens. It's not much else that
Meteor.
Meteor.
Some kind of invasion from another country. I mean, still.
It's on the table right now. Trump is not paying attention. All the people who are probably very important are also probably sick and quarantined. So we're wide open.
I mean,
next podcast, we're going to be speaking Russian.
why are the people who are in the line of succession to the White House fucking meeting in close quarters all the time? No mask on, not washing their hands. I made it the third part, but I just feel like it felt right to me. Okay.
I bet they are washing their hands.
Nasty. Well, hopefully Biden just stays clean and clear of. I mean, I normally wouldn't give a shit, but he just gotta.
What if he goes clear and becomes a Scientologist?
God, they were really in trouble. Maybe then he'll finally find out where what's his name, David Miscavige's wife is. Everyone's like, "Where's Debbie?" And they're like, "Oh, she's enjoying our special retreat where she's doing studies for the church." I'm like, no one's seen her in 10 years, but no one's seen her since Tom Cruise's wedding, but that's okay. And if you're a Scientologist and you hate us, go ahead and send us hate mail at gmail.com. Oh my gosh. And of course, all this about the Scientology. Actually, no, you can look it up online. It's true. I didn't say anything. All right. Well.
Hail Xenu.
Hail Xenu. Hail Xenu. See, I'm already out of. I'm already out of the church.
And then Das Vidanya, comrade.
Till next time.
Lulu.